disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He's just cute little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lomito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.
Welcome everybody to BDA Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. As your good friend Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. Shout out to everybody out there in this comfy evening film analysis edition. We're gonna be taking a look at, revisiting the Usyk versus Chisora fight in preparation for the potential Usyk versus Joshua fight. Again, there's a lot to say about that. I'm very interested in what happens for that one. So I've been looking forward to doing this one. I mean, we're going to take it step by step, because we're not going to compare it to Joshua just quite yet. We're not going to take a look at Usyk's other performances against taller heavyweights. Just the Chisora fight. See what we can dig up. See if we can get down to the nitty gritty. Shout out to One Foot Out the Door, Jeff Lucieta, Straight G Turo, H Money, Mr. E, Steven Schneider, and many more people to come, I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Oh, hold on a second, I forget, who else is it? Jonathan Kidder, Ignorant Boxing, Official Scorecard Boxing, Mr. E. And right now we got Jimmy on the Discord. Jimmy!
Yo, what up, brother?
How you doing, man?
You know, fair to shitty.
Fairly shitty? Come on now.
No, fair to shitty.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, by the way, you sound a little muffled. You sounded a little muffled, by the way.
Okay, all right, let me take care of that.
Meanwhile, we got Gonzalo dropping by. Gonzalo, you there?
Yes, how's it going?
Good, man, good. Thank you for being on. Jimmy, you too, man. Listen, we're going to revisit the Chisora Usyk fight, and, I already provided some clips for you guys, so hopefully we're more familiar with them. It's not the first time watching them. And we're just going to be trying to figure out what happened in that fight. Because again, some people say that he looked bad. Chisora's team, or Chisora himself, said that supposedly Usyk's teammates went up to him and they told him, "No, yeah, you won the fight." So, and there's a lot of people that say that because he looked bad, he won't be able to beat Joshua. So we're going to get to that, man. We're going to analyze that fight. Tomorrow, not that much going on. The Lopez fight fell apart. A lot of conspiracy theories as to why. Then you got Inoue Desmarinas, which is going to be a fun fight, but Inoue is just... I mean, if anybody deserves the moniker, the monster, this guy is it. It's just, you're going to have to be top-notch to give this guy a tough fight. Desmarinas, though, he's a tough dude. He can crack, so it should be interesting if he just goes for it, but I think most people are expecting Inoue to just take him out of there. So that's why we're going with this Usyk Chisora film study. What else was it? Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of Usyk Chisora, there's a lot going on here. First of all, Mr. E just sent me a article in Discord, and it says that supposedly Ruiz offers trilogy. Anthony Joshua has Andy Ruiz Jr. on standby in case Usyk fight collapses. Now, if you read the article, what it says is that Ruiz texted Eddie Hearn, and he told him, he says, I messaged Eddie Hearn and asked about the trilogy, and he just replied with the worried emoji and the words deja vu. So he's not confirming that fight's going to happen. He's just saying, hey, listen, might be possible down the line. Hopefully the Usyk fight happens. But it's still, Gonzalo, this reminds me of Mayweather-Pacquiao of 2010. Remember when they were negotiating that fight in the beginning of 2010, then everything fell apart, and Mayweather fought Mosley, and Pacquiao fought Clottey, and those were actually pretty good replacements. I think it's the same thing with Fury Joshua. Fury fighting Wilder outside the ring, it's going to be an entertaining spectacle. And of course, Joshua Usyk, that's another interesting fight. So what do you think, Gonzalo?
What do you mean, BDA? As far as the possibility of Usyk Joshua falling apart and Ruiz stepping in as a replacement?
Well, just that the quality of the fights in general, they're pretty good plan Bs, right? That we get Usyk Joshua and Wilder Fury 3. They're not bad fights.
Yeah, that's those are actually great fights, and it just happened. It just so happens to be that this is actually taking place because of Wilder, Walter's antics. You know, not signing the contract and whatever he did, it kind of, this is like the domino effect of that. So it's not like, you know, the promoters were cherry picking or were trying to align in a certain way. This kind of happened as a consequence of that, and it just so happens to be tough matchups where nobody can go anywhere. You know, they got to face each other, and we don't know who's going to win, and ultimately who's going to fight for the undisputed. This is kind of how the cards kind of fall. So it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too, man. Good plan. Jimmy, how about you, man? I mean, they're pretty good consolation fights, right? Jimmy. All right, I think he's fixing his microphone. In any event, if you look at this article that I also found on Boxing Scene, it's Michael Hunter's comments on the Usyk Joshua fight, potential Usyk Joshua fight, because again, nothing's set in stone. He says, I don't think Anthony Joshua beats Usyk unless he knocks him out. This is heavyweight boxing, so there's always going to be knockouts. Usyk, is strong enough, and he's an Olympian and all that, and he has the accolades and attributes to do so. He says, I just think Usyk is a little bit too fine-tuned for Joshua. People are always going back on the Chisora fight because he didn't look so good, but I think that was more of a styles-make fight type of thing. It's in his favor to box somebody like Anthony Joshua, in my opinion. And that's really the crux of the whole thing. It's Chisora does not fight like Anthony Joshua. No, sorry, Bob. They're completely different styles. So for anybody out there saying, well, you know, he couldn't stop Chisora, therefore he's not going to be able to get Joshua's respect, I think that's looking at it a little bit too simplistically. You're simplifying things a little bit too much. Or am I wrong here, fellas? You let me know.
No, it's a stylistic thing. Because I think that Usyk, since he's kind of on the smaller side, not really like a one-punch knock you out type of guy, although it's the heavyweights and he's moving up from cruiserweight. He's not that guy. And Chisora is like really big, and he's like a pressure fighter. It's uncommon to, I think, see like true pressure fighters in the heavyweight divisions. In the heavyweight division, since one punch can knock you out. So I mean, who would really wants to fucking truck forward and get hit when you're applying that type of pressure? Well, Chisora does. Mm-hmm. And when he faced Usyk is not that one punch type of knock you out type of kind of guy. So it's kind of frustrating in the beginning because that pressure will smother the work that Usyk was trying to create. So yeah, he had to fight through some adversity.
Yeah, I mean, it was a guy that just went for it in Chisora. And again, we're going to watch clips of the fight, and I rewatched the fight, obviously, to gather the clips. And when I rewatched, I said, hey, I think Usyk won more convincingly than I remembered. It wasn't it was a competitive fight, but it wasn't as close as I had it initially, which is saying something, and it speaks volumes to Usyk's boxing skills. Now, Usyk is not the most fan-pleasing fighter out there. His style, he's not gonna scintillate the world. He's gonna win based on his activity, his boxing skills, and his footwork. Oh, and his hand speed, of course, as well. He's not gonna go in there and stand in front of guys and try to knock him out. But again, the big thing is his punching power. That's the big question. Like you said, Gonzalo, it's like, hey, look, don't expect him to stand in front of guys in there. But then the question becomes, can he outbox Anthony Joshua? And there's people out there that believe that he can. Now, for the Usyk-Chisora fight that we're going to be analyzing here, the scorecards were, according to Google, he came out on top with one scorecard, 117-112, and 115-113 twice. So that one judge, those two judges had the fight very close. So again, stamina played an important fact for Usyk. Now, in terms of CompuBox, I'm looking at him here, and I was having a hard time finding the punch stats. I don't know why, but if you look at it here, hold on a second, give me 2 seconds. Yeah, so the total total punches thrown for Usyk were 674 and 625 for Chisora. That's because Usyk spent a lot of time moving, pity-patting against Gassiev, I believe. I think they had Usyk throwing close to 1,000 shots. But again, I think that's because they're counting the pity-pats. But still, what do you guys make of the fact that, according to these punch stat numbers, the total punches thrown weren't that far apart? Does that tell us anything? Is that worth anything, or? You know what? We're gonna watch the fight.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I'm having to go to YouTube to watch whatever you're posting on the screen.
Oh, you can't. I'm sharing. I'm sharing the screen, Gazelle. You just gotta.
Shit. I got this Samsung tablet.
Oh boy.
Struggling.
Hey, how about you, Jimmy? Can you see the screen I'm sharing?
Not yet, dude. I don't know. I'm just getting my fucking internet up. I don't know what just happened. I just had to reboot it.
Okay, but you're on your computer, right?
Yes, I got my computer up. Oh yeah, absolutely, bro.
All right, so
I'll be on in a minute.
This time it's Gonzalo that's going to be delayed because he's watching it on the TV. So, Gonzalo, if you could watch it on the tablet, that would be better. That way you can see the screen on time.
Yeah, I'm only down to one device because my wife in here. She's in the apartment I rented.
Oh, okay, I got you.
The TV over there. But let me see. I'll listen. Then I'll just, if I'm a little behind, I'll just flip from YouTube to the Discord, and as everything starts playing out, I'll chime in if I need to.
Okay.
With a little bit of after,
All right, we'll make it work, man. We'll make it work. All right, now we're gonna start. Actually, let's buy a little time. Jimmy, you let me know when you're ready, man. In the meantime.
Yes, sir, I will.
In the meantime, apparently Charlo had a difficult time making weight, but he ended up making weight. So, guys, it seems like Jermall Charlo's days at 160 are starting to be numbered.
I just think he's not taking the fight serious. How can he? This kid got starched by Munguia. This is an absolute joke of a fight. And I think he took it. I think he'll probably go the distance because he won't even fucking take the kid out because I don't think he's trained half as hard as all. I mean, he knows the fight's a joke, so I don't know.
Yeah, he probably. Yeah, he's. Do you think he's gonna be a little frustrated with his management that this is the best they could do for him?
Well, I mean, he did say, I'll keep fighting whoever they put in front of me. You know what I mean? But, he was making it sound like, again, they're under they signed an agreement and no a clause that they can't speak bad, so they get sued. So they do it subliminally in their texts and shit. But yeah, I think he's getting frustrated. How can he not be?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? His resume is just like all of them. Look at Giovanni Davis. Another one. They're all the same.
Why do you keep calling him Giovanni Davis? Oh, man. You're just trying to piss off poor Tank Davis, man. He's already got enough on his plate. He's got enough on his plate, and you're just adding onto the fire. But yeah, man, it's a Jermel Charlo. I'd love to see him against Canelo, man. I really would. I would rather see him fight Canelo than Canelo fighting Plant. But it is what it is. Hey, speaking of it being what it is, the biggest loser in boxing, Julio Chavez Jr. is fighting Anderson Silva tomorrow, and apparently the fat fuck missed weight for what, the 30th time in his career now. And
yeah, I don't even know what weight division they were fighting, but he stepped on the scale at 184, and Silva didn't announce his weight. They just said he made weight. So what division were they fighting? 175?
It's 180. It was a catch weight of 182 pounds, apparently.
Oh, wow.
All right,
82, so he was over. 2.2
I'm using my girl's phone right now, so for the YouTube, I don't know what's up with my laptop, but she's working on that for me right now. But yeah, I'm ready to go, brother.
Fantastic. Sorry, so let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to be looking at Usyk's defense, and then we're going to take a look at some of the weaknesses, and then we're going to take a look at his jab, then how he got hit with jabs, his power punches, how he got hit with power punches, and then, yeah, that's about it. So power punches will be including combinations. So let's get to it. So with defense, hold on a second. Let me see if this is playing. It's taking a little time. There we go. All right, let me rewind here. All right, so again, he kept Chisora turning with that beautiful footwork of his, as you can see here. Pity pats, not moving excessively. As you can see, he's not exactly running. He's just taking small steps and then circling to the sides. And it's only when Chisora really gets close that Usyk started moving a lot more. Keeps his hands up nice and tight there. And that's the other thing, because a lot of people said, oh, well, he didn't really tee off on Chisora the way, we expected. And in the beginning, I thought that too when I saw the fight live. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. Vitaly Klitschko had trouble hitting him too. I mean, this is just what Chisora does against taller fighters. He moves ahead pretty well. He's got like a crab defense. And he just makes things difficult for you to catch him, especially when he's got stamina, when he's fresh. So as you can see here, Usyk there, he got caught a little bit on the ropes. All right, so this is what, I'm going to replay this one here. This is what Usyk likes to do quite often. Because we saw him doing this, right? See that? Where he leans to the right, like his former stablemate Lomachenko. So he dips to the right and he can pivot off that move. But here what he does now, he's confusing Chisora. Chisora doesn't know whether he's going to pivot or whether he's going to stay in place. So he slips the jab, pulls back, gets caught a little bit there with that left. And then he takes one step back, makes Chisora follow him around, and then he pivots away, leaning back at the same time. And Chisora just, as you can see, they're completely off balance. Do you guys think it was a mistake that Chisora kept trying to switch in there, shifting, and that by squaring himself up, it was a mistake? Or do you think that's what you're supposed to do against a guy who's moving around a lot? You're supposed to square yourself up a little bit.
Well, yeah, because you can cut off the ring easier. You can shoot to the left or shoot to the right faster when you're squared up, and you could kind of like swing crazy in a sense, that you can catch your opponent with either hand on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because and you know what? As we're hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds here.
He was headhunting too.
A little bit. Yeah, I'm going to show you some.
Yeah, he should have. In a situation like that, this one just throw to the body. It's a lot easier to hit a body than it is, a head. Especially someone moving like that. And when he threw that to the head right there, he should just step to his left and drill to the body, even if he caught him in the arm. But make contact, because it just doesn't make you look as silly to the refs. To the judges when you miss like that.
Yeah, you think the judges are taking that into account too, how he's left off balance and all that?
Well, absolutely. Ring generalship, yeah, it's judges, when they're scoring the rounds.
Yeah, because
Now, if Chisora would have chased Joshua down the same way, he probably would have got knocked out. Because it's a style thing, you know. Joshua with one of them uppercuts, where a short right hand is different. Usyk doesn't have that type of power, right? And he's on the back foot as you're attacking him, so that's why it was okay, I guess.
yeah, that's an interesting point, the distinction to make too. Like what we're seeing here, Chisora just jumping on him, trying to get really close. That's not Joshua's style at all. So I don't know how much you can glean. Like if Usyk did look bad in certain spots here, it's not because Joshua's gonna replicate the same thing. He's not gonna be able to. So again, this move here from Usyk, like I said, he leans to the right. See that? He leans to the right. Oh, now Chisora thinks, okay, he's gonna probably move to the right. No, instead, now he weaves and goes to his left, and he keeps Chisora coming forward. And a little bit off balance, they're forcing him to reset. So that footwork really is key for Usyk against these bigger heavyweights, so he can dance around them. Now this move, this is beautiful because he can stick to you. See again, he pretends as if his lips to the right, hits him with a little right hook, gets real close as Chisora is on the defensive, and then he just keeps him turning. I mean, just beautiful footwork here. And if he fights Joshua this way, or I mean, if he uses this type of footwork, is going to trouble Joshua. I mean, just look at Joseph Parker used a little footwork and a little upper body movement, and he essentially shut Joshua down. I mean, Joshua was relegated to padding, swatting with the jab. So obviously it's not exactly the same style as Parker's, but if he decides to get on his bike this way, it's going to be a problem for Joshua. Now see,
I like how he keeps that shoulder high on the chin as he's spinning out, to avoid the big shots to the chin.
Yeah, to slide with him, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because if you look at this clip here, he's backing up. Chisora's shifting. See that? Because he had success with that shifting a little bit. We're going to take a look at that later. But Usyk is very smart. It's easy to do this in slow motion, but doing this on the fly when a big guy is coming at you. So see, Usyk is backing up, plants himself. He could have countered that, but instead he just chooses to pivot as Chisora is coming forward and shifting off balance and just leaves him off balance. Look at that. Again, it's not the most entertaining thing to watch a guy do this for 12 rounds, but we're not discussing whether it's entertaining or not right now. We're discussing whether it was effective, and indeed it was against a guy like Chisora, especially for a guy that doesn't hit, and especially hard in Usyk. So you see there again, pity pat shots, a lot of pivoting, changing angles side to side as well. He mixes up the defense very well, side to side. And that's the other thing, is he moves the head as he's pivoting. See that? Slips there, rolls, keeps moving, slips. And what he's doing is, we can't really see it, but his footwork, essentially he's shuffling away. You can't do this if you keep your feet apart all the time. You gotta shuffle. They're just keeping... So again, if Joshua jumps on him, he's going to tire himself out because he's not used to doing this type of stuff. He's just going to be trying to cut the ring off. In the chat, True Ballin says, no one's going to cry. We don't live vicariously to other men like you do. Well, what's going on here? Jonathan Mer says, BDA, you misinterpreted what Eddie Hearn texted Luis. He meant it could be deja vu with Usyk beating AJ. Ah, okay. Hector Ramirez says, Usyk is going to get knocked out and you guys will make excuses after. Why am I going to make excuses after? If he loses, he loses. The Fight Scout says he looks way better in slow motion. Yeah, most fighters, most defensive fighters do. It's only when you slow down the tape that you go, whoa, you appreciate more. But when it's live, you're thinking, all right, what else you got? But again, the question is whether he's going to be able to pull this upset against AJ off if the fight happens. Now, very good defense, but he did get hit a couple of times here to the body, Jimmy, which is what you wanted to see. So Chisora did try going to the body, which is what you're supposed to do with a guy who moves side to side. See that? Digging those shots in there, trying to rough him up. Now, this is something that I didn't really like from Usyk. He got hit with a nice body shot there. See that? Boom. So they were clinching. He's trying to stretch his arms out to get away. And in that split second in between the clinch, he gets hit with that. He felt it. And he sort of shakes his head as if, I don't know if he was trying to play it off as if it was a low blow or as if it was saying, nice shot. But I don't like it when fighters react to a body shot. I mean, you expect a professional guy like that to have a poker face of some sort. But in any event, yeah, you see there, Chisora did try going to the body. But again, that's sporadic. Just sporadic things. And of course, Joshua's not going to be going down to the body because if he does so, he's going to be opening himself up for shots against a shorter guy. Now we get down to the jab, which is one of Usyk's main weapons here. And has always has been. Hold on a second. All right, so you can tell with the jab here. First of all, if you look at this, the timeline here, it's round 4, the 56 seconds. So there's 56 seconds left in that round. And Usyk is the one walking Chisora down. Because at this point, Chisora started off very quickly, putting a lot of pressure, and he ended up tiring himself out. And he had to sort of resort to going on the back for a little bit. And that's when Usyk started cutting the ring off. And boom, that jab was there to annoy him. And again, it's an interesting type of jab because he catches it with the right and then just boom, immediately catches him with it. He telegraphs it a little bit. See there how he pulls it up? Maybe he's pulling it up because he wants to get over Chisora's own lead hand. In any event, you can tell he shakes Chisora's head around. And a lot of people say, well, you look at this, you think, well, it's a little tap. Yeah, but you get hit with this type of taps. First of all, when a punch moves your head, that doesn't mean that it's that light a tap. It's you're gonna feel it. And if you're getting connected with that jab over and over and over, you can start to get pretty annoying. See here again, playing with that lead hand, keeping him busy, making him move his head, and then he anticipates where Chisora's head's gonna be and whacks him with an up jab. And again, pops his head back a little bit. So you see him incorporating movement right there. This jab, again, see how he's moving the head, not letting Chisora know whether he's going to get away or whether he's going to stay. And Chisora just walking forward, trying to see now squared up, trying to shift again. And Usyk just times him there, squared up, hands down, boom. Another up jab. Right on the nose. And then moves. He always moves after jabbing. That's the important thing as well. You don't just want to stay in place. Now, then as the fight goes along, Usyk senses that Chisora is getting tired. His technique's starting to go to the crapper a little bit. And that's when he starts to put a little bit more mustard on those shots. And again, good timing. See, here's anticipating something coming. Leans back against the jab and comes up with an overhand right. And that punch, look at that, boom, really shakes Chisora's head up. So, or actually moved him. Am I wrong here in saying that he actually stunned him a little bit? Fellas, help me out here.
I'm trying to appreciate that in slow motion, but can't really tell.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if you see where he catches him kind of side of the head, he bends his neck. So look at Chisora's neck. He's got a pretty thick neck. He's been knocked out a lot.
Hay knocked him out. Dylan White knocked him out in the rematch, and Fury stopped him. But just he forced the corner to stop him because he was just slapping him nonstop, putting a bit of a slapping beating on him. But
see, I'd have to see him continue after that. I couldn't tell if he's hurt from just that. I would have to see how he moves after next few seconds after.
Yeah, I can't play.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, I can't play the clips too long after because otherwise, yeah. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys make of that? Because again, one of the big things about Usyk is, well, he can't hit hard enough. But if you're moving the guy's head side to side like this, there's gotta be some force. There's some force to the punch, and the other guy's feeling it. I guess my question is,
well, yeah, because he's a mover, so most of the time, I think, as you're spinning, as you're pivoting around and away, you're gonna take power off your shots. But if you're stepping in, that creates a lot of inertia. So it's not like he's always taking away power away from his shots as he's moving, because not all the time he's moving away. When Chisora started getting tired, he started, like you said, putting more mustard and stepping in with power. So that movement, it's like a car when it starts to create a velocity. The faster it goes, the more impactful it becomes. If it's in an accident, so yeah, him moving, he generates power too.
Exactly. By the way, I just forgot that I wasn't sharing the screen with you. I kept saying, yeah, I'm sharing the screen. And now I'm sharing the screen. So, Jimmy, I think you should be able to, if you're on your computer or your tablet, if you can see the feature there to click on the screen share, you might be able to see it live. What else was it? Okay, so let's keep going here with the jab. So again, it's a nice shotgun jab. Sometimes he taps with it just a little bit. See, like right there, just keeping him busy. But you can start seeing that as the fight goes along, that jab starts to get a little harder and a little harder. And again, he doesn't telegraph the jab, and he can counter with the jab. He can lead with it. He can do a bit of an up jab. Now, see this? He's walking. This is the 12th round. He's walking Chisora down. And he changes levels just a bit here. Chisora just tired. His timing's off. He doesn't know if the left hand's coming, if it's the jab. And again, Usyk throwing it from a downward angle and upward. Boom. Really moves Chisora. Chisora, good timings though. As soon as he got hit with it, he loaded up on the right hand. But again, just too slow for Usyk. But this is something that Joshua could potentially do.
That entry right there,
Mm-hmm.
that the way he went to throw that jab, see when he steps in and throws it like that, see, that looks like he's ready to throw a hook to the body. I bet you that's what Chisora was expecting. See right there, like that, you would have expected the way he stepped with his foot and dropped, you know what I mean, to his right. You see his elbow going down like that, you're expecting right there he's ready to throw a hook to the body.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just changed it to a, he basically hid that jab behind, a setup of a hook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's a true professional, Usyk. He feints, he changes the angles, he switches it up essentially. He doesn't let you know what's coming. And, that's going to be the main thing against Joshua, because just throwing 1-2s and all that, Joshua, who has the height and reach advantage, he's just going to step back. Every time Usyk tries to come forward with something, Joshua's going to try to use his height and reach advantage, just take a step back and try to cancel the fight out. So it's going to be imperative for Usyk to do this type of things here, switching it up.
And wasn't that was how many times did he fight at heavyweight when he fought Chisora? Was that his second pro fight at heavyweight?
Yes. Pro fight, yeah.
So I think, he was getting acclimated to the weight. I mean, because when you're up and when you put on weight like that, you don't know if you're going to hit a wall. That's the tricky part. Like, you could feel good going into it, but then all of a sudden, like, where he might have carried 12 rounds at cruiserweight, he hits a wall at the 7th round because all of a sudden that extra weight.
That's the thing, though.
So, I don't know if he was just getting used to it.
You know what, man? I think it was a case of Chisora knowing what he was supposed to do, which was just pressure, jump on him, try to tire him out, wear him down to the body. And Usyk's conditioning and footwork helped him out. People were expecting Usyk to pull off a David Haye and knock Chisora out. First of all, like I said, if you look at his stoppages, Dylan White, who's a good puncher, had to labor to get that knockout. And David Haye was getting tired. He was working hard too there, trying to stay away from Chisora. So it's not like anybody just throws a shot and knocks Chisora out. Like I said, he's got a good head. I mean, Vitaly Klitschko went 12 rounds with Chisora. Does that mean Vitaly Klitschko doesn't hit hard? You tell that to Kirk Johnson and Corey Sanders and Samuel Peter and Shannon Briggs. It's just different type of punching power. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying Usyk is a power puncher, but what I'm saying is this question of does he hit hard enough to get Joshua's respect? I think he can. And especially when you consider that Joshua's never been the type of guy that just walks somebody down. I think that's something, that's a key factor there that people are missing. The styles. So, let's keep going here. So again, Usyk just continuing on with the jab. Now he himself got hit with a couple of jabs, and he wasn't orthodox. Well, there you see him getting hit with a couple of lefts. See, it's when Chisora was shifting, catching him with those little taps, and he's not even throwing them hard. Chisora, he's just tapping him, but because he's a big guy, heavy guy, those shots are enough to move Usyk's head, and these are the type of shots that really create excitement with the judges. So you see there Usyk with that high guard. Usually at cruiserweight he could block those shots, parry those shots, but here it's a heavy jab, and boom, you can see there he managed to slip the second jab, but still, that's the other thing I want to point out here. He needs to cut his hair, because that type of long hair, somebody taps your head, it's going to move a lot, and it seems like it's a worse punch than it might actually be. Remember when David Lemieux was getting his hair was jumping all over the place in his Golovkin?
Yeah, no, you would. My grandfather used to tell all his fighters to have crew cuts or shave their head because, yeah, exactly for that reason. Your head gets full of sweat when you get hit. You can see it, right? The mist and all this. Mm-hmm. So it's just, it accentuates the necessarily.
I mean, Jimmy, how many times have we seen a guy hit a glove or something and sweat flies and people go, ooh, the crowd, thinking it's a punch?
Exactly.
So, yeah, so that's a good point right there, man, that it makes the judges think that the punch actually, and the fans too, who can sometimes, with the reaction, sway the judges rather. Now, this is also an important clips that I'm showing because a lot of people say, well, Joshua's jab, if he commits to it, Usyk is going to see it coming. But as you can see here, Joshua is not going to have to go full force with the jab. He's going to be the heavier guy. All he has to do is throw it at half force, maximize the speed to try to tap Usyk, and boom, catch him with this type of jabs. And the judges are going to take notice of that. Even if it doesn't land clearly, just as long as it moves Usyk, they're going to be giving him credit for that. So that's what I'm saying, that Usyk's going to have to really mind his P's and Q's against jabs, because he's going to have to put on a masterclass if he wants to get credit on the scorecards. And again, this type of taps here, they're enough from a big heavyweight to really stun his head side to side.
Well, that's a good point, because if he could kind of half-ass a jab, Joshua, where it's still good, it's crisp, and he's not really throwing it heavy and hard, he's still got that trail hand that he can focus on landing a hard shot too, so he can kind of like measure his gas tank a little bit better than he would against other fighters. Mm-hmm. Right? He can kind of like be more like Canelo, He can kind of like learn how to pace himself a little better against Usyk. That might be in his benefit.
That's a very good point. It's the rhythm of the fight. Yes, Joshua's not going to be pressuring Usyk the way Chisora was, but like you said, with the height and reach, he just have to half-ass that jab a little bit to land it and to touch Usyk a little bit, and he's going to be getting credit, and it's going to serve him because it's going to make Usyk have to fight extra hard to get credit from the judges. Now, this is all dependent upon whether the judges do not give Usyk his credit, which is the likeliest of possibilities, or the likely scenario. But again, nothing set in stone. You never know. Now, when it comes to the power punches for Usyk, this is where he landed some of his left hands. Now, in the beginning, when Chisora was fresh, Usyk wasn't really committing too much, as you can see there, catching him. But except this one here in the second round, where he had to get his respect a little bit. So he jabs, leans back from the overhand right, and as Chisora is overcommitting, boom, cracks him with the left hand. Again, some people say, yeah, but he cracked him and nothing happened. Yeah, but how do you know nothing happened? First of all, you see that what Chief always says, chin meets the shoulder, right? When the chin meets the shoulder, that means that it's cracking that brain. It's shaking it up. A guy can see white, a guy can get stunned, and his body, his nervous system is being told, hey, don't take too many of these anymore. Subconsciously.
Oh yeah, he caught right on the button like that. He saw a flash of white. Of course he did, just for a split second. That's a guaranteed. You get caught on the button like that. See, he's got the ability to throw. He put a little snip on that punch too when he was going backwards. Mm-hmm. That's a talented kid. For the big
Well,
guy.
Jimmy, let me ask you and Gonzalo too, because that's one of the big points about this, about punching power. I've heard people say, oh, look at this guy, he cracked him clean and he didn't drop him. That means he doesn't hit hard. Isn't that a simplistic way of looking at things?
Yeah, of course. It could be many factors. The closer your elbow, I can't stress this enough, guys, when it comes to power punching. This is from Marvin Hagley. The key is the longer you keep your elbow to the body, you're making contact. Like he called it his 6-inch punch. When his fist was making contact with his opponent's chin, he would make sure, he would hope, if his elbow was 6 inches or less to his body at the point of impact, almost guarantee he was at least putting the dude down. That's where it's all at. It's the same thing, when they talk about hitting a sweet spot on a ball, hitting a home run, like you don't feel the bat in your hand, it doesn't hurt, you just crack, you just know it's going to sail. It's the same thing with that punch. It's the perfect punch. And so it's a big difference. And so every inch your elbow's extended for your body, the punch is extended out, you're losing a ton of terrific, what's the word there? The stuff. I didn't know the show was coming. Pretty ripped. But force on the end punch.
Hey, you're doing a good job.
No, I know I did. It was a show and I got ripped. I came home and got blown out. And all of a sudden the phone rang. I'm like, oh shit.
Also, I think that even if you're a great puncher that does everything right and you're heavy-handed too, I mean, as far as like the mechanics plus you're heavy-handed, let's say you're just one of those guys. If you got another fighter that's fresh, and the other fighter's got a good chin, but he's fresh, you're not always gonna knock him out either. But let's say that other fighter's tired, it changes. It's different. Like when Berchel fought Valdez, I guarantee you, if he would have caught Berchel with the same punch that knocked him out in the beginning of the fight, he wouldn't have done what he did. But when he caught him, that was when he was ready to go. He didn't have it in him to have the resistance to take that shot. So sometimes you have to pick and choose when to throw that shot when your opponent is most vulnerable.
Exactly. A good point. When your opponent's tired, the more tired he is, the easier he's going to get knocked out. Well, you guys know all the time. You've all probably experienced it or seen it in public. Some drunken jackass barely gets hit and he goes right out, goes right out cold. The reason being, alcohol, alcohol in your bloodstream takes place of oxygen cells. So your oxygen cells are smaller. You're getting less oxygen to the brain. It's equivalent of being short breath, like you're really winded. So when you get caught on the chin, on the button, you go out much easier. That's why alcoholics get fucking knocked out, starch so we shit fix. Same exact principle.
Now that's very interesting, man. That's an interesting point right there. And going back to what Gonzalo said about the wear and tear, that's essentially why punching power, you can also quantify it qualified rather, depending on how a guy can break down. Because I remember Juan Diaz, he threw a lot of hooks and uppercuts and power shots and just da. He could never really wear world-class guys out. Meanwhile, you take a good look at a guy like Pereira, more selective with his shots, yes, less active, but he had power. In part, it was the accuracy and the punching power, and he's got the type of punching power to break guys down. Same thing with a guy like Tank Davis, who we're going to talk about next week. He's not necessarily knocking the best out with one shot at a time, but he's got the type of punching power that stuns guys and breaks them out little by little, little by little, little by little. So, Usyk, I don't think, obviously doesn't have that type of power.
Yeah, he's got explosive power. Usyk.
Oh yeah, when he throws them chopping shots, yeah, he's turning that waist and he's getting some leverage. I've seen the ones you just posted on these last clips. Also look like an Errol Spence, who might not be the hardest one punch guy type of guy, but he hits hard enough. He hits hard enough where that power's consistent. Pa 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 pa, and it's just consistent all throughout the fight. That'll really I don't know, man. It's like tenderizing a piece of meat. I think Jimmy was talking about the other day. It's that type of power.
Yeah, it's you gotta that's a good way of putting it. Standardizing the stake. If you're rocking a guy's head back and forth, that's debilitating his body, the spine, the muscles, everything. So everything just gets loosened up, and boom, that's how. So Oscar Valdez, he hurt Berchelt early. Then Berchelt, because of his conditioning, was able to take those shots, but he was eating way too many shots, working hard, getting tired, and that's when he ran into that shot, and it's lights out because his body just got worn down. So.
Exactly. That shot wouldn't have put him out. That shot wouldn't have hurt him in the first round, like Gonzalo said.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he was gupping and he was sucking air.
Now, you can see again. So that's Usyk. They're putting now. Some of them you can see not exactly the hardest shots, not turning over the body fully, but he's catching Chisora coming in. As Chisora a little bit too overzealous sometimes because it's hard to pin Usyk down. And that's when Usyk frustrates him with the movement, and then when Chisora least expects it, he catches him and just see how every time he punches, he moves, punches, moves back.
Can I just say something too about the Usyk?
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's gone up to heavyweight, I think it's obviously it's going to happen. What I was hoping wouldn't happen, but I was almost positive would, because he wasn't known as a knockout artist at cruiserweight, so he wasn't going to step up here and bang dudes out. Because of that, and the way he fights, he fucking dude bores the shit out of me. I ain't gonna lie. That type of shit bores he just knowing that he isn't a puncher, and it's not even that. Listen, I appreciate his fucking talent, but Lomachenko does a lot of shit. He does. You can tell they train a lot together, the same all that. But Loma sits down on his punches. He doesn't. Usyk. You can tell, he just doesn't give a fuck about, I really don't think he cares. Loma really wants the accolades. I think Usyk doesn't. I mean, he's got a master's degree. How important is boxing? I know it's his passion, but he's got a master's degree in something.
But I mean, Usyk has a master's degree?
A master's degree, yep.
In what?
Very, very educated dude. What's that?
What's
I don't know. I forgot. But he's got a master's.
I didn't know that. I didn't know the guy had a master's degree.
Yeah, no, very intelligent dude.
Master's degree, probably a master's degree in psychology to try to cure himself from his psychopathy or whatever. Master's degree.
So it's usually like that. I mean, he's not, he's gonna have a career after boxing and stuff. He's an athlete, and but he's not. It doesn't seem like a mean dude. He doesn't seem like he's, jumps on people when they're hurt that much. I don't know. And again, I respect the hell out of his abilities. Just it's something about a dude, and I know he can't bang. You know what I mean? Without that one punch power.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's
you're
savage
absolutely.
in me. It's just, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah.
You're absolutely right. That's why I said at the beginning of the show too. Okay, good defense and all that when you're analyzing it, but when it's live, you're like, all right, am I gonna watch this for 12 rounds? I mean, there comes a point with Mayweather fights and Devin Haney fights or Rodrigo Dow fights where okay, this guy's just gonna run circles around this guy. Where's the drama? The drama is if he's fighting a guy that's competent and that you're thinking, whoa, he's outboxing this guy, that's where the drama lays, right? But when it's a guy where you already know, okay, he's not going to catch him and it's just the same pattern over and over and over, say, okay, good for you, you're skilled, but you're not exactly making me want to watch you. So, yeah, Usyk, especially at heavyweight with Usyk.
You're not going to be selling out the Saddle Dome.
Yeah, the Saddle. But you know what? It's interesting though, Jimmy, and we're gonna take a look at these clips later on in another episode when he's fighting Joe Joyce. Did I say Joey? Joe Joyce and Junior Fa in that what was it called? The half heavyweight, half amateur, half professional thing they used to have back in the day. Super series of boxing, and since it was just 5 rounds, man, he threw down. He was exchanging with us. So I think if he fights Joshua, you're going to see him throwing more combinations because his legs aren't going to be as worn down as they were in this fight where Chisora was making him use those legs. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly. In other words...
Yeah, no, you're making the point. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's going to have more energy to be a little bit more entertaining, I think. But again...
He needs to fucking catch... He can't hit Joshua with pity pats in the first 3 rounds.
Exactly.
First few rounds. He can't do that because when you're fighting a dude and you go in there and say he throws one of those hooks stepping back and it catches you and it does nothing but give you that little flash of white, but nowhere near even close to rocking you.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you confidence. It doesn't deter you from coming in. It makes you want to come after him. So if he pity pats him and just kind of stick and move and tries to take him into later rounds by conserving all his energy, that's just that's a bad plan. He needs to go out there, pity pat with the jab. It's a failure. Keep him away, frustrate him, keep him out of his, his foot out of his, position he wants to be in. But that first time you throw a power punch, you need to put some snap on it. Because I'm telling you, the first time you fight a dude and he hits you with a hard punch and it goes like that right there sets the tone. Okay, this motherfucker can hit.
Mm-hmm.
Changes everything, bro, in your brain. Even I don't give a fuck if you're one of the best fighters in the world, you're not going to look at it the same. It's why it's very important. You'll always hear one of the guys say he needs to get his respect early. That's what that means. That's all they mean when they say that boxing.
Yeah, that's true, man. A lot will be revealed on the night because I don't necessarily think that Anthony Joshua's got a bad chin. He did get surprised by a punch after having Ruiz hurt. And Ruiz is not also like the power puncher that you would think, but just based on the fact that Joshua didn't see that fast punch, it caught him by surprise. It pretty much he got hurt by that. But will Usyk have that type of surprise punch against Joshua where Joshua's not going to see it and he's going to create the same effect that Ruiz did? I don't think so. He's going to kind of have to catch him in close and turn into the shots as we've seen in these previous clips. But a lot will be revealed on the night. If Joshua can take Usyk's punch, man, watch out because I don't think that Joshua necessarily has got that bad chin.
Well, I
he might just swallow him up.
I just finally watched the Ruiz-Joshua fight just the other night for the first time. And Joshua didn't look right off the rip. And I'll tell you what I think what happened. I don't think he hit mitts before he came into the ring. I think he went in dry. And he didn't try to get a second wind. I mean, it's always important. You're in the back there in the room. A lot of people say, why are they hitting, going so hard? They're going to get tired. No, they're trying to already get to their second wind. You know what I mean? Because when you go into the ring with your second win already reached, you don't have to worry about not getting it. Because you might not get to the tempo in the ring to make it, you know what I mean? I know it's weird, but you don't really reach your second wind. And it looks like he never reached it. And that could be a couple of things. He didn't take the fight serious, didn't train right. And he definitely didn't look like he went in with a second wind. And it looked like he never caught it. And he was sucking wind all night. His legs were heavy. It's a shitty thing. I've never had it to me in the ring. I didn't have enough fights over the years to deal with it, but it happened to me a couple times in hockey. I just couldn't get my second wind. And I had just fucking ugly shift after ugly shift.
Sorry, I had to drop off for 2 minutes. Who are we talking about?
I was saying, I was talking about second wind, and I just watched Joshua the first time and Ruiz the other night, and it looked to me like he didn't get his second wind. Gonzalo, you know what I'm talking about, right? Before you step in the ring, you hit the pads until you fucking break your second wind. That's ideal. That's what you want to do coming into the fight.
Yeah.
You hear when they say like a fighter comes in dry. Sorry, Gonzalo, go.
I was going to say, those are the two biggest points that people like to criticize, point out. That Joshua's stamina is not all that great and the chin is suspect. But let's just say that those two things aren't what people really think they are. That let's say he's got a better chin than what sometimes we think he does. And that the stamina, it could be improved, or we don't really... We really don't know as far as if it's that good or not. I mean, who knows? So if those two things are okay, and he's facing Usyk, who's not really that devastating puncher, and he's able to keep those two things in line, I mean, we might have a great performance by Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, man. I mean, look, Joshua's chin, it's not really the chin, it's when he gets hit on the temple, and it's a heavyweight fight, a lot of these guys carry thudding power, so if they catch you on that temple, you're going to get discombobulated, like somebody said in the chat. Hold on. Okay, so let's keep going with this one. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, like Gonzalo said, too, it's people say that they're always questioning his stamina and his chin because it's part and parcel. It's the same fucking thing. Yeah, we just went over that. You know what I mean? If your stamina, if you're sucking wind, like, and you're trying to get oxygen, that means your body's starving from oxygen. No different if you're blowing a 3-0 on this fucking, on an alcohol fucking breathalyzer. Your body's starving for oxygen, easier to get fucking knocked out. So that's the reason why when somebody's got stamina issues, listen, that's why Mickey Ward, people say, how could he take such a fucking shot to the head? How could he take so many fucking shots to the head? It wasn't like his head or, you know, chin isn't that much better than anybody else. He did a ton of neck exercise, as many as he could do. And he just did cardio like you wouldn't fucking believe. Like Marvin Hagler, because it's a Massachusetts thing, and him and everybody just emulated that. That was Marvin's thing. Nobody's going to outcondition me. Guarantee you that. And that was his philosophy, and that was Mickey's. You might be more talented, you might be faster, you might hit harder, but you're not going to be in better shape. And that makes all the difference, like Arturo found out the first night.
And another thing that I heard that I don't know if it goes along with the stamina and the suspect chin is that he's clunky. It might. That he's clunky and a little robotic. But I would have to revise that because, well, in my mind, I'm thinking, look, Anthony Joshua, he's a big guy. So he might seem a little clunky when he's getting into position to throw punches, and he might be, but you also got to realize that when he gets into position, he executes combinations with great form. He's got great form, and the punches he throws are like one of the most for the lack of a better, they're the most beautiful shots that you can, compared to other fighters, that you could appreciate. I mean, they're straight, they're nice hooks. He's really got some nice boxing, some good boxing. Some punches.
Who do you think throws the best combinations in boxing in the last few years?
Canelo and Joshua. I like the way they throw their punches.
Chocolatito, don't forget Chocolatito, man.
Yeah, his are nice too, but I still, to this day, I say Linares. Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he throws beautiful combinations. They're like butter. They're so smooth.
Yeah, Canelo lost some of that as he went up in weight. He doesn't throw the straightest.
Exactly.
But if you watch the straight hand that knocked out Kovalev, in the end, that's the same punch that knocked out Pulev that Anthony Joshua did. So yeah, he might be a little clunky, but he's just setting himself up to unleash, his hands. And when he does it, he does it beautifully.
That's the muscle. That's his shoulder girdle, dude. He carried too much. Listen, that's because of his body type, and he's always in shape. It's not just for him fighting, you know what I mean? That's just an aspect of his life. But other times he's with, I don't know if he's married now, but fucking out banging him. Wasn't he wailing on fucking the Chini Muslim's wife? I can't remember his name.
Oh, Amir Khan.
Khan. Yeah, Amir Khan. Yeah, fucking. I mean, so this dude too. I mean, come on. He's out there. He wants to look good, and it becomes addictive. You're working out. Wow, man, look at me. And you just, so he was going the wrong way. Like he started looking like he was more into what he looked like with his shirt off on Instagram, and he was carrying way too much weight and thickness in his traps and shoulder girdle, all up top. So that makes you look robotic because you're so thick up there. He needed, and it was smart what he did against Ruiz. I just hope he takes more of a risk. Hope that's not the way he's always going to fight now.
Well, you know what I've said about the Joshua fight? I mean, the Ruiz rematch. I said this in a video. I said, okay, look, yeah, he outboxed Ruiz, and it's not Joshua's fault that Ruiz showed up looking like a fatter pig than usual, but you still have to take that into account. It wasn't the best Ruiz, and even then, Joshua just did the bare minimum. So how much harder could it have been for Joshua had Ruiz been in shape for that fight? I still think Joshua beats him if he fights him the way he did, but it's like he did the bare minimum against almost a 300-pound Ruiz. So,
dude, he did the bare minimum against a dude who just went life and death with Chris Arreola.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So
that don't look good, dude.
I mean, look, the resume doesn't lie necessarily. He stopped Povetkin, he stopped Klitschko. He's got the win over Joseph Parker, destroyed Pulev.
Silk sheets make you soft.
What was that?
Silk sheets make you soft.
Yeah, but I will say,
the
I will say this though.
The hunger.
I will say this though. he was talking in the build up to the Ruiz rematch, and he said like he was saying all the right things. He said, "Look, people, I heard some people telling me to retire after the Ruiz fight, and I said, well, you didn't tell me to get into boxing, so why are you going to tell me to get out?" And he said that loss doesn't define me. And I said, you know what? That's exactly what I like to hear from a fighter. The loss doesn't define you. You don't let people tell you what.
That would have been a stupid time to retire. That would have haunted him for the rest of his fucking life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whoever told him to
He got on
retire
the
at
back
then
foot.
was not his friend.
He got on the back foot. He came in a little lighter, and he implemented the game plan that he needed. And I know at times he got frustrated when he was facing that fatter version of Ruiz, that he was sticking his tongue out. And a lot of times, I mean, people would say, I even thought, man, he doesn't have a good chin because, look, he's sticking his tongue out because he's frustrated in the rematch. Well, I think it's just the fact that he got hit with that one punch in the first fight, that not knowing that you could get hit again with something you don't see, and not necessarily because you have a bad chin, but just, let's say you do get hit on the temple again, then you lose your legs. It's not the fact that he knew for certain that was just going to happen. He just didn't want to be put in that position, whether he was going to find that out, whether it was true or not that could have happened. I don't know. It's just a simple fact that he understood that he needed to be in control at all times against a fast fighter like Ruiz, that he didn't want to get caught with something that he didn't see coming. Not to say that if he would have got hit, he would have got hurt. It's just the fact that going in psychologically. Yeah, in the rematch, psychologically speaking, he got something back, which he avenged it. A lot of fighters, psychologically, they won't be there. But, I mean, that's good for his confidence.
Yeah, man, listen, Joshua, that's why we're looking at Usyk here, because he's shaky, man. And even though Usyk is not an aggressive guy so far, especially against his fight against the Chisora, and even though he's not exactly the biggest puncher, nonetheless, he's still a dangerous fighter because of his acumen, his hand speed, and his conditioning. So let's keep looking at Usyk here now. That's where you see he's mixing up combinations now as the fight goes along. Pity-patting. Oh, okay, now this one. Again, Chisora desperate. Now, that's the other problem Chisora made that I don't think Josh was going to make as often. I think he will make it nonetheless, but not as often. Chisora at some point was just walking forward, shifting and trying to land an overhand right. And obviously, I guess a guy like Usyk can't repeat the same thing over and over because he's going to read it. So, again, he steps back, throws a right hook at the same time, steps back, sees Chisora shifting, hands down, completely down, has him at the range, and boom, cracks him with a left hand right on the chin. You can see that stopped him in his tracks. Again, people say he didn't drop him. That means he doesn't hit hard. Stopped him in his tracks. That means he hits hard enough to get this guy's respect. And if he cracks Joshua like that, I'm telling you, because the thing about Joshua is people forget this. He's a tall guy, very strong. He's quick on the counter, hits very hard. So there's not a lot of people out there that are willing, inspiring to go after him. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of guys that have the stones to stand in there with him. So I think he's not the best. I'm not saying he has a bad chin, but I don't think he reacts as well to shots as a guy like Usyk, who, because of his physical dimensions and his style, which is that sometimes he likes to stand in front of guys with his hands down. With his hands up. He's a little bit more used to contact than Joshua is. Or am I extrapolating things too far here?
No, you're right on, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because like I said, I think the Joshua, when he gets hit, he smiles and all that. I don't think he's all that used to getting punched. So if Usyk cracks him, even though it might not be the hardest shot, it's still gonna get Joshua's attention. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you just gotta get his respect. That's all.
I like those hooks that you just displayed on the screen. Mm-hmm. Those are nice. Yeah, it looks like how Keith Thurman generates power moving side to side, because Thurman moves laterally around the ring, and when he moves laterally, he generates a lot of force with his hooks, with his right and left hook, and this is kind of like what Usyk is doing, Hook, step into the side, then shifting the transition in his body weight to the other hand, and throwing another hook.
Yeah, when
he's moving his legs.
And when he stops and plants his, because like in this one, for example, he saw it. Chisora, 11th round, Chisora is tired, slow as hell. And so now Usyk says, let me sit down on this shot. And look at how he loads up on it, but not a lot. Just enough to turn the body over. Catches him straight on the chin. Again, didn't drop him, but you see Chisora's legs there. He buckled a little bit. He got stopped on his tracks. They're coming back with the left. Putting some combinations together here in the last round. Pity pats more than anything, but, well, those he started to put a little mustard in them. But he's going to have
That's
to be...
going backwards, dude. That's impressive going backwards.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Keeping his balance, dude. He did that going backwards. Going forward, it's a whole different animal going backwards doing it. Yeah, he's a talented kid, man. He's got a great ring IQ.
Now, this punch right here just goes to show you again what he can do with the lead hand, which is he was jabbing, then here he turns it to an overhand right. And again, you see how he twists Chisora's head, the chin almost meeting the shoulder right there, and you can see it backs him up. So when people said, Chisora didn't respect the power, I think this clip proves, and this is in the 4th round, by the way, so he was still relatively fresh, although he'd spent a lot of bullets in the early rounds. Here's, you see him moving, pivoting. Like Jimmy said, he can punch going backwards. The wherewithal that it takes to do this too against a gorilla like Chisora. Chisora is built like Joe Frazier. Well, he's bigger than Frazier. He's a bear. What's that?
Well, I mean, Usyk, he's got good power because what I see in those clips, that is effortless. He just lets his hands go. And he puts a lot of, like, torque. He unwinds. He just releases his hands. And that's effortless in that he's fast. So he's got this deceptive power.
Exactly. Because I thought so too. And I remember when I watched his fight with Michael Hunter, and he fought some African dude on HBO. I forget. I think it was on the undercard of Kovalev versus Alvarez, the first one. And it was just, he wasn't turning over the shots. Like Jimmy said, very defensive. And I said, what am I watching here? Because I remember people saying, he's the cruiserweight version of Lomachenko. And I remember thinking, he ain't no Lomachenko. But, so far he's been able to keep everything together. And he's a very efficient fighter. That's the best way to say it. And here you can see, this is what I would like to see more of him. Going to the body a little bit more. Although, again, he doesn't do this because he doesn't spend too much time on the inside. But see here, he flurries on the inside to the body, makes Chisora drop his hands, and then whacks him with the left hand upstairs. So again, if Chisora didn't respect the punching power, he wouldn't be buying these shots and trying to block him. He got set up right there. And you can only really
look
get
at how
set
far
up.
he's leaving that back leg out. Watch when he's doing it. See how far he's leaving his back leg back?
Mm-hmm.
You know why? That's fighting, like, remember I explained about Billy Saunders? He's leaving that back leg for a quick escape. That's, to me, he's still worrying too much about what he's going to come back. So right as he's throwing that left, look at that. He's going to have nothing on that punch because his left leg is way the fuck back in the second row.
You talk about Usyk.
Usyk, exactly. That's because he's looking to jump out. So he's keeping it out. That's like he's keeping his it's like keeping his foot on base. You know what I mean?
That's the problem sometimes with when you're pivoting around in a way. You're taking a lot of power off your last shot, like
exactly.
you said.
And if you wanted to step in and really put some fucking zip on the punch, you could have stepped in, swung a zip around to match the left to pull it around. Like right there, step in. See right there, that was all arm. There was nothing on that punch. There was nothing on that punch.
It's different than like Pacquiao. Pacquiao pivots a lot too, but he pivots in. He steps in.
But he uses his calves. He drives energy off his calves. He drives up like no fighter I've ever seen.
Yeah, and him and Lomachenko usually pivot around and away. They're turning away. So it's like you're taking some power off your punches. Sometimes you're generating and sometimes you're taking away. Because obviously if you're turning around and away, you can hook. You can hook off of that with power.
Yep.
Jonathan Morrison in the chat says, go to Usyk versus Dave Allen sparring match, and you hear David Allen snoring after Usyk cracks him with big gloves and headgear. Jeez, I've never seen that. I'm going to check it out after this. GB Guthrie says, the only logical explanation is that Jimmy is an alter ego of Luis Ortiz. Abaddon the Annihilator says, Chisora looks like the kind of guy that sleeps with old ladies. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of Mark Henry from WWE. What the fuck? This chat is out of control. Jonathan Finch says, Punch Drunk Allen. Stephen Schneider says, Allen versus Babic, incoming watch. Fast car, gonna make it. All right. Now, this clip here, this is something that Usyk likes to do a lot of. He likes to see that where how he throws sort of like an uppercut with the side of his palm, or with the side of the thumb rather, to make the guy close his guard, as if he's blocking the uppercut, and then that sets them up for the left hand. Boom, right here. But again, Jimmy, what about his rear foot? Still,
that's what I'm waiting to see when he throws that. Exactly when he throws the left, I want to see. Yeah, see, he's way too far back. Look at it. Wait, she's nothing on it. See, it's coming up off the ground. Look at it. See, there's nothing on that punch.
Now, it's not a hard shot, but it's not the hardest shot, but it's still
a scoring punch. It's a scoring punch. That's all it is. It's good for the judges. If it lands in the face, it's a scoring. And it's an amateur rank. It's an amateur style, which he perfected over years in the amateurs.
So,
you know what I mean?
Bottom line is it going to be enough to beat Joshua, do you think? Like,
no, he can't throw a punch like that at Joshua. I mean, and expect to stop him or even get his respect. He's going to have to crack him. What round is this with Chisora? The 5th? Yeah, by then, I bet you that big dude was guppy and he was already sucking wind. He's probably breathing with his mouth open, and he saw that. You see a fighter breathing with his mouth open, half the fucking punch is gone off his fucking, half the zip is off his punch.
Now, here we can't see the legs, the feet, but again, you see him slipping that right, and Chisora just too slow to come back or to even put his hands up, and he hits a cracking left. Boom! That, see, again, I don't know if he's sitting down the shot as much as you would like or whatever, but he's twisting. See, that's what Chief calls head meets shoulder. Look at that. Boom! He must have seen the stars a little bit.
Those shots will be effective if he hits Joshua on the tip of the chin. He'll cause his brain to spin. Those are effective if you're accurate, I think. When you catch a fighter in certain points to the chin, the side of the chin or the front of the chin, you make that neck rotate, or you make that neck snap back.
Yeah, I think his back leg was far back again, though. See how he's ready to duck out? See how he ducked out at the end of it? Again, it's like, I can't explain it right. I don't know if it's coming through, if I'm making sense with it, but keep that left leg. It's like all kinds of sayings, like keeping it out. He's still keeping his foot out the door so he can jump out quick, escape quick. So that's why he's leaving it back there. So, see, boom, he can just pull back. So, but by doing that, though, you just don't put the same, you just don't get the same pop on his punches. A la Billy Joe Saunders.
When you say that, so essentially you're saying he's not putting. Is it a question of shifting the weight forward and not
exactly?
Doing that
He's not. Yeah, exactly. It's like a bunt in baseball instead of a home run swing. You're just turning on the ball, but you're not fucking turning, dropping your knee and squaring your hips off.
Okay, now I got you there because again, you just hit the nail on the head.
Across the body. Yeah. See, look at it. See his leg going back. It's like and watch right now, see how he's already ready to go back with no effort. He's already going back to the ropes after he throws that punch.
Yeah, so you hit the nail right on the head. So essentially what it means for people out there is, if they still haven't understood it, what Jimmy's saying is he's turning properly, he's doing that well with the upper body, but the leg, he's not putting all the weight on the front leg, and he's not, because when you throw your cross, that means your rear hand, you're supposed to bend that back leg a little bit, like when you throw a baseball. So that's when that's what they call sitting down. What you can sort of see here from Usyk is he's moving the leg back as he's throwing it
backwards. Exactly, brother. Thank you.
Oh well, you explained it. I mean, I'm just
but that's perfectly put. Yeah.
So he's more constant.
He's not putting more constant on defense.
Yeah,
it's all about not getting hit. That's the style of fighting of putting points up and not getting hit.
Exactly.
Look, he's bailing out of there. Put it this way: if he had his feet in the right position, those two punches, that last one we just saw, when we were just studied it with his leg going back. Mm-hmm. If his feet were in the right position and he, what they say, put it, bear down on, cracked, he wouldn't have had to duck out. He would have fucking probably rocked him enough to really start laying some leather on him. but you're not going to hurt him bad enough to do that. So he's still conscious about. Okay, he just knows he's not going to hurt him with those punches. That's the reason why.
And you know what? I don't know what round that is, but I recall watching that fight, and in the latter rounds, Chisora had no power on his punches. He was just throwing basically like arm punches. So I don't know if it's just a mentality that Usyk, like you're saying, Jimmy, that he has to get away because he's hardwired that way, or he didn't really want to get clipped. Because at that point, I don't know what round that is, but Chisora didn't have the pop. So I mean, Joshua's going to have like greater power.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point, dude. Exactly.
The thing
Chisora was, he had nothing left on his punches, but but he was still conscious. So is it doing it because it's? I mean, again, how many amateur fights did the dude have? I mean, hundreds, right?
Yeah, something like 300, I believe, or maybe I'm getting. Hold on,
yeah, so I mean, he didn't turn pro until his mid to late 20s. So,
is he doing it because he's fearing of the power of Chisora in the 7th round, or is he just doing it because it's a natural reaction that he can't get away?
I think it's natural at that point because I don't think Chisora had anything on his punches by then, and I definitely don't think he had anything on his punches. Was this a 12-rounder? Yeah, he had nothing on his punches in the last 2 rounds. Just like BDA said, it was all arm punches.
According to Google, Usyk retired from amateur boxing with a record of 335 wins, 15 losses. So that's close to 400. That's close to 400 fights right there, man. Incredible.
It's a lot of amateur fights, bro.
That's why he's
at world level too.
Yeah, that's why he's
at the world level.
That's why he's being rushed as a professional, because he goes, look, he's already in his 30s right now. He doesn't have time to be taking tune-ups at heavyweight. He beat Chisora. He feels he's ready for Joshua, and he wants to make it happen. Now, in regards to what you said, Gonzalo, about why is he taking so willing or ready to step back, I do think it has something to do with the styles, because Chisora was trying to make the ring as small as possible for him. See that? Pressuring, changing levels, making Usyk punch down, and Usyk knew he might get caught with those overhand rights. So I think it's going to be a different type of fight against Joshua, because Joshua's a taller guy, meaning he's going to be the one having to punch down. He's not going to be putting this type of pressure. So I think you're going to see Usyk a little bit more willing. Because again, we're going to take a look at the Joyce fight later on. I mean, not today, but another day. And he was throwing hard shots against Joyce, and he was trading with the guy. So real quick, shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, World Series of Boxing Season 3 looks like a dud. No kidding. I didn't know that. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, but apparently the stock might not be as high. The roster might not be as good as it was last time. Maybe that's what Chris K means. By the way, the World Series of Boxing, I was recently, a couple of weeks ago, I was rewatching Castaño versus Derevyanchenko. Those two guys fought in that series, and man, they should fight as professionals again, man, because they both have similar styles. Inside, they can box a little bit too, but they're very active fighters and aggressive. Oof, it was a check it out, guys.
Derevyanchenko's burnt out.
I think so, man. He's like he's Frankenstein's. He looks like the Frankenstein monster, and I think he's running out of oil because he's been in some hard fights, man, despite not having a lot of them. All right, now this sequence, this is where he stunned Chisora, Usyk, that is. So as you can see, well, let's watch it real time and then. All right, so what happened here? Again, this is the 7th round near the end. Chisora just walking forward, tired. Catches a right hook right on the chin there. See how it shook his head? So that moved him all the way to the side. Then he caught, I mean, look at this short left hand. This is the type of shot you don't see coming, right on the tip of the chin. Chisora just trying to get something there, but you can see he's...
Excuse me. How close is his elbow to his body right there? 6 inches?
Usyk, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Right there, yeah.
So when he hurt him with that left, going into that, I think it was the left. Right here. This left is the one.
Yeah.
And watch how close he's keeping that to his body, generating all the power. Boom. Boom.
And you can see
right
that.
When he's making contact, it's almost still to his body. Exactly. So yeah, bang. Yeah, he's keeping that one a little closer too. Yeah. Today, that's another lost art, man. I'm shocked by how many fucking world titleists don't know how to control their space. They get somebody hurt, fall on top of them, flailing like some chick who fucking at last call going home alone.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, man. A lot of guys don't have the technique to do it. They don't have the proper.
They don't fight enough.
That's true.
So it's not inbred in them.
The one guy that does it well is Chisora Visai. He keeps his elbows pinned to the
Canelo
body.
does too.
Canelo
He gets you hurt,
yeah.
forget it. Oh yeah, Canelo gets you hurt, you're going out.
Glenn Johnson was another guy that could pull that off, just like stabbing shots to the body and short uppercuts. And yeah, it's a lost art though. That 6-inch punch, man. A lot of guys don't know how to throw it. It's all inside, all the way outside, or a couple of guys know how to fight inside, but it's yeah, you're not seeing craftsmen in there as much. Well, you got a couple, but yeah, but
Toledo.
Yeah, like Salido, yeah. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the Super Chat. Says, my bad, I meant the World Boxing Super Series. Oh, okay. He says, 130 pounds women. Okay, well, I mean, that says it all. If you're into that type of stuff, I guess, but I mean, it's not for everybody. Real quick, okay, so you can see that he stunned Chisora. He had stunned him there. Again, now this is a clip. This is interesting because this is Usyk's bread and butter here. Bouncing around, jab, 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 bouncing, stepping back, making Chisora hesitate. There you see Chisora shifts, hesitates for a split second. Their hands down, boom, gets caught with 2 shots, and Usyk just keeps moving. So you gotta, Chisora did all the right things. He tried to pin there, he hurt him again. But again, see, the problem with Usyk is he's sort of slapping with those shots. See that there's no follow through. It's almost like he hits the chin and he stops. And yeah, he shook his head and all that, but I can only wonder what would have happened if, see, there slips. Now he's putting his weight on the back foot, but there you see again, like Jimmy says, that left foot leaves the ground and he's slapping. It's almost, he's a little bit too worried of the return. So that means that if Joshua can counter quickly enough and get Usyk's respect, Usyk's not going to be throwing as hard as he would like, or as often even. But again,
kind of reminds me of a kid. Kind of reminds me of a kid trying to break a piñata. You know, you get that stick, the broomstick. You're not gonna break it with one shot, but you gotta keep swinging. That's how he looks like.
Exactly. But still, look, I mean, the shots, they're hard enough that they're scoring shots. They're twisting Chisora's head back, and again, see, they're cracking him with those left hands. They got Chisora's respect. Again, you can't really say that he's not feeling those shots because Vitaly Klitschko tried his darndest to get Chisora out of there, and he couldn't do it. Tyson Fury's another guy. He was slapping, but man, when there are the slaps coming from a near 300-pound dude, they were enough to stop him. So I'm not saying Usyk is gonna do that to Joshua, but if he keeps his activity rate up, that could be a problem for Joshua. The problem with Usyk is he gets hit with shots himself, man. Again, it's a different proposition here because he's fighting a shorter dude, but see there, leaving himself open for those overhand rights. As he's turning, he's got his hand up, but you see how he pulls it forward as he's trying to parry or something, then gets hit on the side. They're getting hit, and even if he's see, that's a big shot right there. He's got a good chin though. You can't say Chisora doesn't hit hard. I mean, like I'm saying, it's these guys have chins. They train to take shots. You don't make it to this level if you don't have a good chin. But still, Serge Chisora trying his darndest, catching him there a little bit on the inside. And again, I go back to the problem with Usyk is that long hair. He gets tapped, and the whole hair moves. It's just a fucking hairpiece. It looks bad for the judges. The judges. Oh, and here's Chisora roughing him up on the inside, using his body weight, his weight and his musculature. So yeah, that's the Usyk fight. Again, Usyk won by 2 scores of 115-113, and what was the other one? 117-112, I believe. Weird scorecard. But fellas, what did you make?
113. Wow, holy shit. That's
so fellas,
good.
What did we make of Usyk? I mean, we established that he's not the hardest puncher, and that's pretty much because he's on the defensive and ready to move away. But is he gonna fight this way against Joshua? Is Joshua gonna make him fight this way? I think that's one of the big questions.
Well, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
if he
Because
does,
look,
he's not going to win. I'm sorry, Gonzalo.
I was just gonna say that style that Chisora implemented. I mean, he gave a good account of himself. That was a good fight for him, although he lost. It benefited Usyk as well because the more the guy comes to you, you can do what you do best: is get on the back foot, pivot, outbox the other guy. But I don't think that Joshua's necessarily going to be chasing Usyk because he's the champion.
Mm-hmm.
Usyk got to bring the fight to Joshua, and I know that people will say, "Well, yeah, he can fight like that also because he's going to keep turning you." So it's not necessarily like that Joshua's going to have to chase Usyk. No, yeah, Usyk will do he'll box his fight where he'll try to turn Joshua. But what I'm saying is that Joshua can afford to have the luxury maybe of not moving a lot as well and fighting more a little bit like a counter puncher. Where when they say he's robotic, okay, scrap that. He sits down on his feet, implements good form to catch the other guy coming in and try to catch him with quick shots, and that way set traps for the more fleet-footed Usyk. So maybe that benefits Joshua because he won't expend his gas tank. Have him come to you, right? Have him come to you.
Where are they fighting?
Well, if the fight happens, they're planning on doing it in Tottenham Stadium, which is in England. Obviously. Yeah, September is what they're trying to work out.
He has no chance of winning it.
That's what I said. That's what I keep saying, man. I mean,
no chance.
Especially, that's why I was placing so much emphasis on those jabs that Chisora was throwing. Because again, let me just go back to the real quick. Joshua doesn't have to throw the jabs extremely hard. He's got the strength advantage. If he catches Usyk with those shots, especially if Usyk comes in with long hair, that hair's going to be shaking, and the judges are going to be listening to the crowd, hearing every ooh and ah, and they're going to give Joshua the decision. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but again, he has to work less hard. Like Gonzalo said, he has a little bit more luxury and patience in there, whereas Usyk is really going to have to double time it in order to get the benefit of the doubt from the judges.
And also, BDA, Usyk. Sorry, Jimmy. One more thing, real quick. Joshua, he hits hard with both hands. So if Usyk is having to pivot to the left or right, he can set up a trap where he's going to catch him and he's going to run into a shot. As he's turning one way, he's going to run into Joshua's power because he can switch it up where he hits hard with both hands. So have it to where if Usyk is turning one way, Joshua can surprise him with either hand in any direction that Usyk turns. So that's an advantage to Joshua that he hits hard with both hands.
That's a good point. He's got a good arsenal. Joshua does. He's got good uppercuts, hooks, an interesting jab. I think that jab is going to be the key weapon here. If he can work off that jab and pile up a couple of points, the judges are going to be giving him the decision. Before we go, just a little bit of Joshua here in order to get people's interest in that. Hold on a second. I'm looking for the... All right, so...
Yeah, I was just going to say, too, if he goes in fighting scared, to me, that style, I mean, that's like fighting scared, which he obviously isn't scared. I'm just using it as a term. But fighting not to get knocked out, the whole fight like that, just always being so conscious of, an escape route. I don't know. He's not going to be able to beat Joshua fighting like that. He's going to have to fucking, is he playing 3D chess? You know what I mean? Like, is he trying to leave it? But that's a risky game to play against this kid because he almost lost the fight. So I don't know.
Exactly.
He has the talent to beat Joshua if he's willing to put his ass in the sling.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly. Because again, we're gonna in another night, another evening, or whatever. We're gonna look at Josh. His fights against taller heavyweights when he fought Usyk and Junior Fa, heavyweights, and he did what he had to. He fought completely different than he did in the Chisora fight. He exchanged, he threw more power shots, more combinations. So again, it could be a styles matchup. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. That it had to do, like Michael Hunter said, it had to do a lot with the styles. Now, just before we go, a little taste of how Joshua handles a boxer. And again, Parker is not Usyk. He's not a mover, but he's pretty quick. And what's that?
I said he sucks.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have. He's got good physical talent, explosiveness, very fast, but he just doesn't have that oomph. You know what I mean? That what they call that.
Always
dog.
does just enough to lose. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Fucks.
Yeah, Mr. BDA.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. My audio went out, so I had to restart my audio system. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, you know what? It's because I was using too much. I'm using too much memory here, doing a lot of things at the same time. So we'll watch. We'll do a comparison later on, another day. But suffice to say that Usyk will have to work double time, like I said, against. Usyk will have to work double time against Joshua. But you know what? I think he will. You want to know why I think that? Because he's asking for this fight. He doesn't want a tune-up. He's 34 years old. And his style depends on his only advantages right now against heavyweights is speed, skill, and conditioning, right? So he knows time is of the essence. So he's not gonna wait around, buy time, play the political game. He's gonna say, "Look, I'm the mandatory. Give me the fight now." And I think because of that, knowing that he's only got one shot at this, I think he's gonna take a chance. I mean, listen, fellas, you got to remember this is the guy that fought the whole run at cruiserweight away from home. His major fights: Michael Hunter, United States; Gassiev, Russia; Brady's in his home Latvia, wherever he's from; Bellew in England. Who's the other guy he beat before that? He fought some other dude, I think, in Russia. So
Yeah, he's never had a home fight, has he? Or hasn't since he was, when he was before a contender.
And as soon as Joshua left the United Kingdom, hey, guess what happened?
yeah, that's what people say. Yeah. But so what I'm trying to get at here is do not underestimate Usyk. He fights different types of ways.
He has the ability, he has the skills to frustrate him. I mean, and we know he can get lulled into bad fights. We've seen it with this fight. It was boring as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And so was it the one against Takam? Was that his name? That was another 2 hours they'll never get back.
You talking about Joshua's fight with the camera?
Yeah, Joshua Takam. That was another fucking snoozer.
Well, that's the thing about Joshua is if you don't give him an opening, he's content to just step back and jab, like he did against Takam. That was a BS stoppage, by the way. And like he did against Parker.
Oh, yeah. The ref wanted the fuck, and he was double parked.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the fuck up.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a... It's a 60-40 fight in my eyes. I give Joshua the advantage, but it's a fuck, man. If Usyk goes in there, he could potentially try to Manny Pacquiao Joshua. I'm not saying he's gonna stop him, but he could just death by 1,000 cuts, as they say.
Well,
no, by the way.
Well, let me ask you, right? If that fucking super fight, if the unification fight does get destroyed, say one of them loses, who would you want to see lose? Would you want to see Fury lose to Wilder, or Joshua lose to Usyk?
Good question, man. Good question.
I
I
get an
would-
answer from me without a doubt. Wilder lose. I don't want him to win. He's a
Yeah,
fucking.
it's amazing how many people he's pissed off. How many? Because again, it's only insane people that are rooting for the guy. Everyone with a little common sense looks at this and goes, "Man, this guy and his fans they're more annoying than Mayweather was. They're more annoying than the Pacquiao fans. They're more."
Did you see his latest post? Well, his latest shit he said the other day. You gotta understand, it was 4 white men against the black men. Fuck you, Jack. Like, what a don.
By the way, we got Recognize jumping in. Recognize you there?
About time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should come on, man. I got one of my wisdom tooth pulled out today.
Whoa! See,
Yeah.
you're eating too much. That's what
You
happens
still
when you
got
eat too
another
much.
one.
You're eating too much ice cream and syrup, man. That's your problem.
That's what it was.
So why were you unsure if you wanted to come on? Because you lost some of your boxing intelligence if you got your wisdom tooth removed?
Exactly, you got it. Because
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you this: Recognize. Do you brush your teeth right away after you eat sugary things, or?
I mean, I brush my teeth at least 3 times a day.
Were you medicated?
Nah, they just numbed me.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I was like, nah, fuck it, just numb it.
But
yeah,
you know
yesterday I was yesterday after I was talking to you guys, I had this. It was already bothering me. I said, fuck it, man, because I couldn't sleep last night. So I told them, made an appointment. I said, yeah, just pull that motherfucker out, man.
Oh,
It's been killing
Feels
me anyway.
good right away, right?
Oh,
Like right
yeah,
away,
man.
like,
I mean, it
so
was
much
bothering
better.
me for like the last week already,
Dude, there's nothing worse than a toothache. You kidding me?
Yeah, and it's the wisdom tooth too. It's like
Oh,
fucking yeah. It's like growing out.
Like,
it breaks
was it?
through
Or
your-
was it infected?
Yeah, it was. When you know how when it breaks through the skin,
Oh
depends on how it fucking breaks. It could like
But
it
you
can
made
be-
an appointment. You called and they pulled it the next day.
Yeah, I called it and
Well,
I
that's
said,
cool.
can I?
Yeah, you didn't
can I
have bad
come
enough
in?
infection
Yeah. No, I told him,
because
can
if
I
it was
come in
really
right now?
infected, they would have made you take.
No,
they
I
would've
just
said they would've had to
lied.
wait
I just
48
said I'm in
hours.
pain. I just said I'm in pain. I need to get it taken.
But what I meant by an infection, like when you go in, like I say, with any tooth, if it's badly infected before they pull it, they can't just like that. Meaning if it's swelled up and it's got a lot of pus in there, is what happens if you pull a fucking tooth before the infection is tamed down by antibiotics, that could hit your heart and kill you. So that's why a dentist will always say, "Oh, we got to put you through a course of antibiotics. We got to kill the infection before I pull it."
But
So
that
that's
thing
why it
looked
was smart for you to get it
disgusting,
yanked
man.
right away.
Yeah, no, it looked disgusting. It looked all rotten.
you got
Can't believe I
British
had-
teeth. What's
Can't
the
believe
matter
I
with you?
had that in my mouth. Pause.
Yeah, you British or Puerto Rican, man? What's the matter with you?
Well, it's all in the bag. Nobody can see it. It's
Well, you know what
disgusting
though,
look.
but that's the reason why I mentioned the brushing the teeth is okay. You brush your teeth 3 times a day, but it's if you're eating sugar,
At
it's
least 3 times.
but it's important that if after you eat sugar right away, you got to brush those teeth, and you before you brush them, try to drink water and what do you call that in English? Squish. When you rinse because what happens is
Peroxide. Sometimes you could do too. Once, like I'll do it maybe maybe once a week. I'll gargle some peroxide.
Yeah, because what happens is if you're eating, let's say you drink soda, right? And then you go, I'm going to brush my teeth. Yeah, but you got a bunch of acid in your mouth. So you're just spreading the acid around. Especially there's people also that got acid reflux and all that. There's a lot of acid in the mouth. Yeah, like yeah, drinking that chocolate mousse.
Some people, I used to do that too with the peroxide too, but yeah, somebody said that it wears your enamel off. I think that's why.
I mean,
sorry, PJ, what were you saying?
That could do that. Yeah, that could. That's why I say I only do it like once a week, maybe. That's it. Because I smoke cigars like not
yeah,
every
but again,
day,
that kid could have been a fucking moron who told me. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Ah,
definitely
right,
a doctor
right.
who told me.
Oh, this is ready to come out, bro. It was fucking
Oh
disgusting.
yeah, no, it's not.
I had all my teeth done
I felt
before.
it moving too. You know when you start feeling it move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I
I
the
had all my teeth done before I came into the Philippines. Got the 4 wisdom tooth removed, and I had crowns, veneers. I had a brand new grill, man.
Nice, brother. That wasn't
Top
cheap.
to bottom. No,
Yeah, I was thinking about doing the
beef.
same thing too, man. I was thinking about doing the same thing, get my whole fronts done.
You haven't smoked a cigar since you had your tooth pulled, have you?
No, man. But I did yesterday. I smoked a cigar yesterday. I had some ice cream. I had all that stuff, man. That shit.
Yeah, but the tooth wasn't yanked till today, right?
Yeah, no, I got it yanked today. I got it yanked today.
Yeah, because you want to wait at least 6 hours, 12. I would say at least 12 hours, before, because that socket is still too open.
Hey, this is turning into the boxing and dentistry arena, man. What the fuck?
Nah,
Listen,
man, you don't want an infection. That should kill you at his age. Hit his heart.
What, I mean, his age? He's not in his 60s. He's still young.
And
Man.
over 35 years old, man.
Oh, okay.
People, men have been, if for some reason, it's exponentially higher for men over 35 if they have infected teeth for it to hit their heart.
Ah, okay. That's interesting. That's interesting right there. Well, listen, recognize, we just got done with the Usyk. We revisited Usyk Chisora, and it wasn't the worst fight. And it was an entertaining fight. It was not an entertaining fight. But the important thing is to gauge whether Usyk really did as bad as some people say. And he landed his share of good shots in there, even though, like Jimmy and Gonzalo were pointing out, he doesn't sit down on his shots way too much. Is it safe to say, recognize that Usyk will not be fighting the same way against Joshua, the way he fought Chisora? I think recognize went down under the gas again. Fell asleep.
Countdown from 10.
Yeah. He lost some of his wisdom with that tooth.
Oh, tip your waitress on the way out the door.
Well, listen. At the end of the day, I think Chisora, Usyk did well. He did what he had to. It was one of those type of fights like Haney versus Linares. Win now, and I guess just try to get through the win. Don't forget about trying to look good.
Hang on for dear life now and win your fucking title later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna see what happens with Usyk Joshua, if it even happens. Because again, there's a lot of people out there believing that Joshua. There's people pushing the narrative that Joshua is scared, and if he doesn't fight Usyk, he avoids him or something. Nobody can defend Joshua at that point. You know what I mean? That's heresy for him to do that, avoiding Usyk, because a lot of people do believe that Usyk is a competent opponent, not somebody to just He's not.
But honestly, if the money, if Fury wasn't fighting Wilder, like, I would avoid him. I'd say, no, fuck off. Why would I risk it? Why would I risk making obscene money to fight?
I could understand where they're coming from. Yeah, I can understand.
No, absolutely, but yeah,
if they could to fight each other for all that money, if there was a way to get around that, I would have done it. I'm not gonna lie. I'd have been like, yo, fuck that. I'd rather fight you for $75 million.
Man, you guys are a bunch of pussies, man. Not only would I fight
you, a pussy, but I'll be. You could call me a pussy, but I'm a rich pussy.
Listen,
they would have paid. They would have paid Usyk fucking $15 million.
Jimmy,
probably $20 million.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Not only would I fight Usyk, I'd fight him twice. Like, yeah, okay. Let's see you try to beat me the second time, motherfucker. I'll give you 2 chances. I'll even give you 2 time. All right.
2 time.
But yeah, you're right. Listen, but you know what ails me, and I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about those people out there that they put so much emphasis on the world titles. Sort of like when a guy like Lopez fights Kombucha, and they go, "Well, he has to fight him. It's mandatory." But then when Usyk and Joshua are about to fight, I've heard some people go, "Well, he shouldn't have to fight him." Blah blah blah. I'm thinking, come on, man. You got to keep it a little consistent, a little bit. I'm not asking for. Listen, I don't give a shit about narratives. I give a shit about the fights. But if you're gonna spill out narratives and spew them out, you better at least try to be consistent.
You know what's so funny? The fucking
at least keep on track with your narratives.
You get on that bitter, and the guys on there just got tweeting out and it just denouncing Loma's next opponent. It's like it's a cakewalk. It's like, are you serious? That would be the best opponent fucking Davis has fought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about it. That would be right now by far Davis's toughest opponent if he was to fight that, fucking Japanese kid at 135.
Yeah, the reason why it's such a tough fight for Lomachenko is because the guy's a fucking giant. And
That's
Lomachenko's
what I
not
mean.
a-
But and for people to badmouth, oh, it's a fucking joke. It's a cherry pick. I'm like, man, that's why I avoid bitter at all times.
Yeah, because
people
look,
don't
when-
even know how he's gonna react. Remember he had surgery.
No, that was
You
fake.
don't know.
That was fake. Man.
We don't know how he's gonna react. Oh yeah, that's fake.
That was fake. No, but listen, yeah,
The
because
guy
look,
the guy had a wound like a fucking like a bullet went through it.
yeah, because look, when Lopez fought Nakatani, Lopez is a fucking big dude, man. 140. He looks like he's a welterweight. Lomachenko, this motherfucker's tiny, man. And people say, well, why didn't you say that before the Lopez fight? Because I didn't. What the fuck you gonna do about it? It's clear. It's clear as day that this motherfucker shouldn't be fighting at lightweight. So this becomes, and like you said, the shoulder. So there's a lot of factors there that makes this a very interesting fight. Very interesting. But again, Lomachenko, like Usyk, he's one of those guys. He loses a fight, he jumps right back into it. He's not looking for tune-ups. He's not looking for soft touches. He's like, hey, I want to prove that I'm on board for this type of shit. You know what I mean? He wants that smoke, like the way they say.
He's got to get on his chest, man, because if he gives Nakatani space, he's going to get hit with something Deontay Wilder-esque from afar
Exactly.
by Nakatani, man.
Nakatani is not even that big a puncher. It's just that he's relentless. You know what I mean? And he just grinds you down. I mean, Verdejo was outboxing him, but then he couldn't handle that.
Yeah, was kind of beating him up at one point. He was just tagging him up. Dropped him like twice.
He was doing better than Lopez did against Nakatani, that's for sure. But then
Beat him like he got him pregnant.
Oh, Jimmy, man. Jimmy, come on, man. It's too soon, man. It's too soon. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, that was a great fight because
hey, listen, man,
Verdejo came to
Nakatani
win.
almost lost that fight.
Yeah, but Verdejo came to win, right?
Exactly.
He came with that mentality.
His last great performance, you might say. Well, almost, because he ended up losing. But yeah, man. I still think, I don't write Verdejo off. I still think he might make a comeback one of these days. You never know. But
from where?
From
where?
In prison.
It was a joke, Gonzalo. I was making.
I know. I'm just being facetious too.
Oh, okay.
Is that the word facetious? Yeah.
Yeah, facetious. Yeah. The Shepherd's Son says Nakatani will beat Teo and will beat Tank Davis. Well, I don't think Tank Davis is ever gonna. First of all, I don't know. I think Tank Davis is gonna get through Barrios, but it's gonna be a hard fight for the guy. It's gonna be he's gonna get tagged in there, man.
By the way, BDA, that guy looks like John Gonzalez, Mario Barrios.
Like a skinny version of
if
John
he was to get a haircut, if Gonzalez was to get a haircut, he'd look exactly like him.
Yeah, but he's never gonna get one. He told me he believes that the long hair gives him power, sexual power, or something. I said, all right, whatever, man.
You ever see some of the cute girls that Gonzalez, like, he'll send pictures? Well, maybe I shouldn't say that online, but the guy could get some bitches, bro. I gotta give him some credit.
Yeah, that's the way. That's that mailroom money he's getting. That mailman money.
I think it's the hair, bro.
Yeah,
they like the hair.
Yeah, it's the hair too. He goes up to
women. Like the Mexican. He's like the Mexican Brad Pitt.
Oh man.
You know what's but BDA, I'm starting to really lean towards it's not actually going to go the way we were first. I was thinking maybe we was giving him a hard time, but I think Davis might blow this kid out.
Really?
I'm getting this. Yeah, I'm starting to get a feeling he might just blow this kid out.
Are you expecting Barrios to all of a sudden fight Davis on the inside the way Pedraza did? Like, I don't know where he starts fighting.
I'm thinking, I think his Mexican pride will get the best of him, and Davis will draw him into a slugfest, and Davis will just, these kids never been hit like how Davis can hit. The speed of his punches.
Well, but do you think Davis's power is going to carry to 140?
Yeah, I think he's actually going to hit real hard at 140 because he's a tank. It's the reason why he's got that nickname, Big Thick.
That kid is a beast.
Punches hard. Yeah, he punches hard. He's got explosive. He's like a little Tyson. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to overwhelm that kid Barrios. I don't know. I was hoping that
his opponents, but the one thing I'll never take away from him is that the kid is fucking strong and explosive, real explosive.
Here's my
he does this workout that I like. He runs up these flight of stairs and he's always trying to beat 10 seconds. Like most guys, it'll take him at least fucking 15 seconds at going their fastest. He does it in less than 10.
Jeez, Louis. Yeah, he's got
That's
the.
where he gets. That's where he gets that explosiveness from.
That and running away from fucking injured teenagers that he smashed with his car.
Jimmy, when you
watching the Akhmedov or Akhmedeliov, I think that's the name. BDA shared that link with me. That guy's also a southpaw, and he was landing on barrios at will with hooks. So I mean, maybe they saw that, and that's why they picked him.
Of course they did.
Maybe another thing too to consider: Akhmedov or Akhmedeliov, whatever that guy's name is, he had 7 knockouts in 9 fights. I know that's not a whole hell of a lot of fights, but the dude had some power too, and he couldn't really hurt Barrios like that. So we'll see.
Here's two things we're gonna get into the next week when we do a film analysis for that fight. Akhmedov threw near 1,000 shots in that fight. He tried to wear Barrios. Barrios did slow down a lot in the last 3 rounds, but then he pulled off a knockdown in the 12th round, and that sort of gave him an edge a little bit, at least on the official scorecards, because most people felt Akhmedov should have gotten the win. But the point is, it brings up 2 questions then. Is Tank Davis' power going to be able to get carried up to 140? And will he be able to take Barrios' shots? Because Santa Cruz, not exactly the fastest guy, he was teeing off on Davis, but Davis took the shots and ultimately ended up scoring that uppercut. Barrios is
shining him.
Yeah, Barrios is faster than Santa Cruz, and he does hit harder, especially with that straight right. The other thing is Tank Davis, his work rate, not the best against Pedraza. That's the best opponent he's ever fought, and that's the highest amount of punches he threw because Pedraza was standing right in front of him. When he fought Gamboa, I think he only threw about close to 400 shots. Same thing against Santa Cruz. He was at 200 shots, so he's not the most active guy in the world. He's gonna have to work hard if he wants to stop Barrios. Unless he knocks him out with one shot, he's gonna have to put his shots together. That's what I think.
BDA. Remember too, he walks around recognize 170. So you know what I mean. It's like he's not a small dude. It's guys who move up in weight have a hard time carrying that power because you know what I mean. Let's say they're fighting at 130 and they move up to 135, but they're walking around at 150.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this dude's walking around at 175.
Jeez, Luis.
So he's like, yeah, dude, he blows the fuck up.
When Recognize was mentioning, that he likes to do them drills where he tries to do everything in less than 10 seconds, so we know that he is explosive. But when you have an explosive type of body where you do in short bursts, that kind of keeps you away from, like you're saying, his activity rate, right? You tend to get tired after the burst, right? Mm-hmm. Or is that true or not?
Yeah,
yes.
Because it's anaerobic. You know, it's everything in it, but then you got to take a break, and that's the point there with Tank Davis. He fights in spurts. When he fights on the inside, that's when I think he's the most active. But to get on the inside, he's gonna have to walk through Barrios' offense, and this is not Leo Santa Cruz, man. This guy cracks harder. Let me read a couple of comments from the chat. Jonathan Morrison says, Tank with those wide uppercuts. Fight Scout says, the guy's a cruiserweight fighting at lightweight. L-Dog says, I got Tank. It's a good fight, though, but I will be catching it on replay since Loma versus... I think he means Nakatani. Loma versus Nakatani is on at the same night. Yeah, and plus, the Davis fight's on pay-per-view. So, might as well catch Lomachenko on for free. GB Guthrie says it's going to be tough to pick and mix between the fights. Shepherd the Sun says Akhmedov is more skilled than Tank, in my opinion. I think so by a slight margin. That doesn't necessarily mean that Akhmedov is the better fighter overall. But yeah, when it comes to skills, yeah, he does a couple of more things in there. More active too, better combinations. But Tank Davis, man, that guy can crack. He just busts guys up when he hits him to the body. It's just, It's a very good. It's an interesting fighter to watch. If you ask me, hey, who do you prefer to watch, Haney, Lopez, or Ryan Garcia, or Tank Davis? I go with Tank Davis every day, because even though sometimes he puts on lackluster performances and doesn't really go for like I said, he's not the most active boxer. When he lets those hands go, he does some damage. So
well, Ryan Garcia, believe it or not, right? I mean, he's been in some pretty good ones, man.
Yeah,
drop that fucking dude with a check hook. Then he dropped he stopped the Brit. So it's not like he's in boring fights, but overall, absolutely, out of that group, I would say that's true. I remember I said that last year. He's in my top 10 fucking pound list, because my list, I rate it this way: which guys do I want to watch fight? And as time goes on, he's going farther down the list. It's become silly now.
Mhm.
All he's done is just jump around weight classes, eating himself out of weight classes, picking off the easiest, perceived junior title. The fact that they're even
Garcia, he's
advertising
exciting.
title fight.
But the thing, now that you mention it, Jamie, one of the things that's turning me off about Garcia is his personality, which I thought was going to be the total opposite. But come to find out, this fucking kid, I mean, what can be expected? He acts like a teenager. But anyways, he's not the guy that I thought he was. He's actually a fucking clown, man.
Yeah, that's why I understand the way people root for. Like some people say, well, I root for a fighter because he's a good fighter. I don't root for a fighter because he's a good fighter. If he's a good fighter but he's an asshole, I'm not gonna root for the guy. It's like, how do you expect me to root for somebody that I wouldn't want to spend time with in real life? And yeah, Ryan Garcia, he's just a fucking diva. The fact that he tried to use mental illness or depression, whatever, to try to get out of a fight, and then like Steve Kim said, whoops! All of a sudden they announced the Fortuna versus Joseph Diaz fight, or I forget which one it was, and all of a sudden, wow, he posted a picture there. I'm coming back for everybody. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. And by the way, if you're disappointed in Ryan Garcia, that's because you believe the hype. Okay, yeah, he got that good fight against Campbell, but like I say, when a fighter is successful outside the ring, and it's not even because of boxing, watch out, man, because those guys have options, and a fighter with options will usually not be as hungry or as determined as the guy who, he's working a part-time job and boxing at the same time, because that's really all he's got. He's got one shot to make.
Makes fucking $50K for every cover of Twink.
By the way, people didn't see it. I didn't mention it the last time, but fucking the Jimmy was sending us photographs of Ryan Garcia's Instagram, and he goes, "What I tell you, this guy knows exactly what audience he's going for." And it's a photo of Ryan Garcia with a towel on his way, like he's half naked, like he just came out of the shower. And I'm thinking, yeah, what the fuck is it? And then Jimmy sends and then he sends me a photograph of a telephone, and it's got the photo of Ryan Garcia, and it's got like a fucking splooge white thing. I go, Jimmy, what the fuck? Where did you get that? He tells me, nah, I just put some I put some hand soap on it. I was laughing my ass off because I thought you got that from Twitter or Facebook or something.
Yeah, no, I said that. I goes, he knows exactly who his audience is, and I sent the picture of the cell phone, and like the guy said, I really like you without the mustache.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you know what was so annoying too? When he was calling out Manny Pacquiao, I was like, man, he's not fighting Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Then he kept doing it so much, it's like, maybe. But then at the end of the day, he wasn't going to fight him. Fucking annoying little motherfucker.
He's an annoying prick. Always was, always will be. Well, maybe not always will be, but I mean, look, we all gave him credit for the Campbell fight, but that's what all these guys turned into divas, man. After one win, they all like Lopez. Well, I won my mandatory. I won more money. Campbell, he goes away to fucking the beach and pretends he's got mental illnesses. I mean, it's these lightweights. That's why I don't call them the Four Kings. I don't know who came up with that. That's absurd. It is absolutely absurd. But anyway, listen, fellas, we got through the film analysis. Maybe tomorrow. Oh yeah, tomorrow. Good fights. Inoue versus Desmarinas. I think that's going to be a fun one while it lasts. I don't know who's going to catch Chavez versus Silva. I mean that. And who else?
Rosales, what's his name?
Is he fighting Anderson
the bully?
Silva?
Chavez Jr. Him.
What a bum.
And Chavez versus Camacho Jr.
Machito.
Okay. Machito, yeah. So that's Chavez Jr. versus that's pay-per-view.
How Camacho eats him up like he just gets his age.
How do he goes? No, tú te pasas de belga. De verga with an L. It was funny. Fucking Chavez pushed him. A lot of theatrics.
Hey, by the way, tomorrow too I forgot, Munguia versus Zemereda. I mean, come on. But the fight that everyone was looking forward to on the undercard is Melikuziev versus Gabriel Rosado. So, yeah. I think, which one of you mentioned that one? I heard somebody mention it a couple of seconds ago. Was it Reckless?
I was, yeah.
Okay.
Me.
No, I think it was Reckless. It wasn't.
Bektemir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, that's the one to watch tomorrow. And Inoue, of course, the monster. He's must-see TV. And then next week, we've got the aforementioned Lomachenko. We got Barrios versus Davis on pay-per-view. The undercard is not bad, but it shouldn't be pay-per-view, man. Come on. So, we got some boxing to look forward to this next couple of weeks.
I can't wait to fucking see what LB says that thing sold. 280,000.
Yeah, and the LDBC are going to be saying, there you go. Tank Davis, the biggest star at 130, 135, 140. Yeah.
Well, he actually, Wendy Rue, she's a referee, black referee, female boxing referee in professional ranks. She's done a bunch of fights, actually. She actually tweeted out, because the other day I went on Bitter, and it's fucking short, and it was the first thing I saw, and it was, she says, the top 5 fighters, all-time most exciting must-see fighters in history. She had Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, no, it wasn't Joe Frazier, a few other people, and she would Tank Davis. Imagine that. It's like, yeah, dude.
Is she
you
retarded?
Say, okay, you question your motives, or what's that?
Is she retarded, or?
Yeah, no, it's like, well, him and he wrote it. That's how I saw it. I saw it in his feed, and he said, you either got to question that woman's motives or her credibility. Something's really up, man. That's so ridiculous.
Well, maybe she was.
Yeah,
maybe
she's from DC. He's from Baltimore.
Ah, yeah.
So there's the location.
A little bit. Could be a little bit of DMV bias there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he's nowhere near pay-per-view. But the thing is, you get Ellaby. He's just like, fuck. He's such a zipperhead, constantly tweeting out, and that's a fact. After he writes the top ticket sellers in North America, and Tank Davis was 4th. And like, what are you going by? Are you going by their last fight? You know what I mean? Because I put a couple of guys haven't fought in 2 years there. You know, it's just, he drives me crazy. They're just trying to sell this kid. Like, that means he deserves to be on pay-per-view because he put 14,000 people in a seat in Atlanta. Fuck out.
I don't know why. When you mentioned that the referee might have been from Baltimore, I imagined Snoop from The Wire. Dig that do. You ain't never been one of us. But listen, fellas.
We ain't never been one of us.
Yeah. Anyway, listen. That was we're gonna be looking at Usyk's fights against Joyce and Fa next week, or maybe not next week because we gotta look through Tank Davis.
What's his name? What's the fighter's name?
Junior Fa.
Fa is his last name. Fa.
Yeah.
Fucking motherfucker needs to buy a vowel. What the fuck?
He's named after a musical note. But look, listen. We're gonna be looking at Barrios Tank Davis 2 next week. Of course, we're gonna continue doing Second Renaissance. Jimmy, you weren't there at Second Renaissance tomorrow, man. You gotta let me know if you're available, just so I can send you the.
When was it?
Yesterday. From
tomorrow night. Oh no, I didn't know, man. I had no idea about that.
Well, because I don't see you on Discord, man, and sometimes you don't answer the messages. So just let me know if you're around, and we'll.
No, so if you're having one tomorrow, for sure. No, I'll make time. You know what I mean? I'll make sure I am.
Might make one in the afternoon before the fights. You know, just a little.
I think I would. I mean, I had something going around. I had a big day on the couch yesterday.
All right.
I did nothing. I watched fucking TV all day.
Hey, by the way, what's going on with the playoffs? The hockey playoffs? Are the Canadians still in there, or?
Well, Canadians, yeah, they're tied with fucking the Golden Knights, Vegas Golden Knights, 1 game apiece.
Wait,
but
Vegas
they're not going to win the Stanley Cup.
Vegas has a hockey team? What the fuck?
Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights, dude. They're an expansion team, obviously, because like you just said, you never heard of them. They've only been in the league. This is their 4th season, I believe. Their first year in the season, they went to the Stanley Cup. That's amazing because they picked up a bunch of they put a great team together, and they had a good coach. But yeah, no, they're a fast, big team, and they have a lot of fucking, like, Gene Simmons is always in the audience now. So a bunch of people who moved to Vegas out of Hollywood because they're running away from the fucking.
Did you say? Hold on. Who did you say was in the audience? I didn't catch it.
Gene Simmons from Kiss.
Yeah,
he's always there. Fucking after they score, they always show him the bass player from Kiss. The big
I'm Gene
band.
Simmons. I make a lot of money. I'd like to bang your wife. That's my Gene Simmons impression. He's always talking about.
That sounded like him.
He's always talking about. Have you ever seen that clip where he's with the other dude? What's his name? The other guy from Kiss, that's the smart one. Stanley. What's his name?
Paul Stanley.
Paul Stanley, and they're interviewing them, and Gene Simmons goes. Somebody asked him, "What's the craziest story from the road?" And he goes, "Well, one time a woman came up to me, and in so many words, she said she wanted to have my baby." So yeah, and then you see Paul Stanley. He rolls his eyes. And then they ask him a question, and he goes, "Yeah, we're older now, so we gotta take our time. We're not on the road anymore. I mean, we're not partying anymore the way we used to. We make music. We don't need to make. I don't need to make up stupid stories about." And you see, Gene Simmons goes, "Could you pause the interview, please? Just pause the interview." And then he turns to Stanley, and goes, "What are you doing?" And the guy goes, "No, just keep the camera rolling." And then Gene Simmons goes, "No, but why are you trying to embarrass me?" So in other words, Paul Stanley was passive aggressively dismissing his story as complete bullshit, and it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, most people listen. When enough people tell you that Gene Simmons is an ass in person, I think there's something to it, man.
Oh yeah, no, he's a very cocky dude. He was a school teacher. The Jewish school teacher from New York, college graduate.
Well, you didn't need to bring that up.
And then you got
the Jewish part.
Well, he is a Jewish school teacher from New York.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what.
Yeah, of course it does. But listen, fucking Paul Stanley's a puffer.
You know.
No, he's gay. Paul Stanley's gay. He hid it for years, but he's a homo.
You know what the acronym? You know what the acronym KISS means? Kingdom and Satan Service. The acronym for KISS, Kingdom and Satan Service. That's what KISS means.
See, that's why.
That went around back in the day.
That's why I never dug them, because I knew they were. If you look at the symbolism too that they have on their faces, it's a lot of occult symbolism. I don't go for that type of stuff. Let me tell you, not for me.
Well, they're beyond. They came out when you guys weren't even fucking born yet, right? I don't think you were.
Well, I might have been in circulation.
You were fucking. You're born probably no earlier than 79.
You're a Jew. You're a Jew.
I was born. What? Say that again. Say it again.
Because you are a Jew.
Oh, who's saying that? Man, hold on. It's because Jimmy brought up Jews, and now somebody's.
No, somebody was sneezing. No, achoo, or what?
Achoo. Hey, yeah. That's what when people say. You talking about Jews? No. We said achoo, achoo. It's a lot of dust over here. What were you saying though, Jimmy, about Kiss? I think you were gonna say something before I came in with my lame jokes.
Oh well, no. They were at their height, like in the makeup stage. That was in the 70s. Their first album came out in 72.
Yes, our first album came out in 72. Hey, you know how we were watching cringe clips of MC Search last night on Second Renaissance? How about next episode, cringe clips of fucking Gene Simmons?
Yeah. You know, so there's one great scene though, and that's when Suge Knight tells him, "I'm gonna cut you off," to Gene Simmons.
Wait, what scene? In what? In where? Recognize, what are you talking about? I didn't get it. Hello?
I think he dropped. Yeah, Simmons, he made a lot of money, dude, out of the band. That caused a lot of problems in the band, too, because, like, Ace Frehley, guitarist, and even the original drummer, Peter Criss, I mean, they didn't have the money that he did, because he was the one who, he came up with all the logos. He LLC'd them, and it wasn't like he split it with the band. So a lot of the logos, a lot of the design work, he made sure he bought the rights to his songs early. He was smart, and so what he did, he parlayed that. He owns car dealerships, real estate all over New York, multi-millionaire. I mean, crazily wealthy dude. I mean, he just sold his house in L.A. for $25 million. So.
Whoa. So it's safe to say that he chewed up all the money, right? Chew. I said chew, like chew, you know. But
so he moved to Vegas. A lot of people fleeing California.
With good cause, man, right? With good reason. Have you ever seen the Gene Simmons sex tape, by the way?
Back in the day, that wasn't with his wife, right? That wasn't with his.
No, that was with a prostitute, I believe. It was with a prostitute. Yeah, we're gonna watch it next Second Renaissance because again, everything cringe from Gene Simmons, so we're gonna watch. It's a pretty sad sex tape.
I mean, when I was a kid, man, look at that with the boots, man, with the dragon boots and shit, because he was the dragon. When he come out and he would always spit the blood out, and when they fucking during Detroit Rock City.
Yeah,
no, I was a wicked Kiss army, dude. I was like, I had the Kiss belt buckle and shit when I was like 10 years old.
I mean, yeah, they were big. You can't deny that, right? I mean, they were, like you said, they were.
Oh yeah, no.
at the time,
It was they're like right there. That fucking back in the day, man. I mean, with those boots. I mean, he's already a tall dude. He's like 6'4", so he has those heels on. And when you're a little kid, you see them live. My uncle took us to. Oh my god, it was crazy. And that was back when they still allowed pyrotechnics in Boston. Crazy fucking flames blowing up. Their stage. I mean, it took like 4 18-wheelers to move their stage. One of the most theatric rock shows you can ever see.
Well, I think I heard
they put on the show.
They said because they weren't that really great musically, right? So they had to make up for it.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't going to light the world on fire that way. So it was exactly. So it was a part of their theatrics, like the spitting up the blood, and he would blow fire.
The Fight Scout in the chat says BD Boxing. I saw that tape and it was gross. Well, listen, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it on Discord. Obviously, we can't show it on the screen when we do it, but yeah, we'll watch it and we'll do commentary. We'll give you a link so you can watch it along with us. Because again, it's gonna be a Gene Simmons episode. Anyway, listen, fellas, I gotta go. Thank you for joining us, fellas. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you enjoyed that film analysis in preparation for Joshua Usyk if it happens. Shout out to Verified.
Squash the like button on the way out the door.
Exactly. Smash that like button. Smash it good. Don't be afraid. Shout out to you, Jimmy. Thank you for being on, man. Recognize Gonzalo. Thank you, man. Thank you. And shout out to everybody in the chat room. Verified Strange, The Fight Scout, Norman Luis, L. Reese Mac, L Dog, GB Guthrie, Javis Bickle, Jonathan Morrison, Overhand, That Guy, Shepherd of Sons, Triple JJJ in the house as well. Shout out to Triple JJJ, Norman Luis, GB Guthrie, 8 Moody, Glassjaw AJ, Trill Ballins, and many more people, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Gotta go. Maybe we'll catch you tomorrow if something interesting happens after the fights. Possibly Second Renaissance in the afternoon. So stay tuned for that. Check your notifications. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Smash the like button. We'll catch you in the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.